Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. You can hear us. You can hear me. That's what I mean. Sorry, not us. There is no us. There is no Dana. Only Zool. All right, so we've got confirmation from Belladonna, Asmodeus, Atlam, DevMech, Lilandra. Thank you for the confirmation, everyone. Give me just one moment. Just double checking everything is working. The TikTok feed crashed when we were going live, so there will be no TikTok feed today. Just a heads up. I guess those that normally watch there won't know because it's crashed. Feel bad, but that's life. Atlam, will you let me know when Steam goes live? Music's perhaps a bit louder than usual. Let me see if it's turned up somewhere else. Turned down pretty much. It's okay. We're going to have it off pretty soon. Swedish Cook, Rye. Hello, everyone. Steam is on. Let me refresh it. Had some minor technical difficulties when we went live today, but it looks like everything else is working. So just other than TikTok feed, we're good. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We got a really special stream in store for you today. Today is the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking Show. Every Saturday, we host the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking Show. It's a variety stream where we have a series of different segments where we cover a variety of different topics, pretty much all related to Dungeon Alchemist. But today's stream is a very, very fun one indeed. We've got a very special guest. In fact, let's go over the itinerary really quick. So, for today's itinerary, our first segment today will be the news segment, which we will be covering sets. I'm very excited to show sets to you. That's S-E-T-S. Just want to clarify that before anyone gets all yippity. But anyway, this is a new feature that Carl has been working on, and he shared to the dev team recently, and I asked if we could share it with the community, and he said yes. So I got I got a clip and a screenshot to share with you here in a bit. Stay tuned for that. That'll be up pretty much right after we cover the itinerary. Immediately following news, we have our Damn User segment, where we will be interviewing a very special guest, Dungeon Alchemist Dev Quentin. Quentin has been with the team pretty much as long as me or longer. I'm pretty sure he's been here longer than me, for sure. I didn't get to know everyone right away when I joined the team, so it's kind of hard for me to gauge timelines. But Quentin has worked on quite a bit related to Dungeon Alchemist, features that you likely use every day. Today we're going to be showcasing a couple of teasers that he brought with him, so I'm very excited to bring him on the stream after our news segment. During that segment with Quentin, we will be allowing Q&A from the audience, so if you have any questions for the dev team or for Quentin directly, maybe you want to get to know him, maybe his video gaming hobbies or tabletop gaming, preferences, or what got him into development, anything really. You can ask questions, but please, if you have a question, preface it in chat with the word question followed by the question. So that way my moderators can gather those questions up into a list, send them to me, and we will cover them in the order they were received. So you can start asking your questions for Quentin pretty much now, and then we can start compiling them and addressing them as they were received. Next, after that, it says Dungeon Alchemist questions or damn questions, which is Dungeon Alchemist related Q&A. So if you need support, guidance, maybe you're new to our community and you just got the tool and you're wondering how to do something in it, or maybe you saw a map on the workshop and you're wondering how they made that. Maybe you're struggling with an export, anything. That's what I'm here for. During that segment, the Q&A segment, damn questions, you can ask questions to your heart's content related to Dungeon Alchemist, and I will do my best to address them in real time, kind of giving you like a real-time tutorial, or essentially like a class with a professor. Immediately following that, if we have time, will be 2 more segments. The damn workshop segment, which we will showcase maps on the Steam Workshop. I handpicked a couple that we will take a look at. And after that will be a feature showcase where we will show the floor removal tool, which I want to kind of highlight to show what it can do and how you can use it to your advantage. Alrighty. Hey, Morgana, welcome back. How are you? And Chim, how are you? Okay, so let's get into our news segment. Stand by, everyone. One moment. Oops, had the wrong map pulled up. That's a teaser there. Let's load up a dark parchment really quick. So, for our news segment today, I know who you are, Anani. How would I not recognize you? So this new feature, long-awaited, heavily requested feature over the years, essentially allows you to group objects up and save them as a group, i.e. a set. I was hoping we'd call them prefabs, but set ended up being the winning term. Essentially, it'll allow you to grab a group of objects, save that group to a category, and we're also adding to this, working on a very important aspect of this feature, allowing it to be implemented into the workshop, meaning you can create your own variants with the set tool and then share that on the workshop for other people to use. So this, I'm very excited about this tool for several reasons. This will allow people to essentially create prefabricated room designs, especially if they're in exact shape or size. So if they're always like a 4x6 rectangle or a 5x5 square or whatever, it'll fill it perfectly with objects. You could also use this to decorate maybe a tower or ships, or a street set that you have, and then you just want to drop in some market stalls and it's all ready to go. Maybe decorate a wagon with a bunch of stuff inside that your players haul around with them, or maybe their long rest camp. So you could drop it into a bunch of different environments really quickly. So it has like all of the stuff they use. Anyway, this will be very, very helpful for a lot of reasons. But I imagine that people in our community will start using this more than map making. Like, people will probably start, just designing sets all the time and sharing them. I imagine it'll work with all objects. Tokens are technically objects, but they're just in their own category, so they're easier to kind of sift through and manage. But they do act like objects. They use the same hotkeys, and when collisions are turned off on objects, it works with, tokens as well. So I'd imagine, this will essentially, allow for kit bashing, but saving it and then sharing it. So that's a huge, huge bonus. You design a really cool, desk or a library. You want to share that with the entire community. Boom. Maybe add a little details. Oh, this library is 7x9, highly decorated, details on all shelves, and ready to go. Or maybe a shop, general store. So maybe, it'll be a great way to save, each other time, but also yourself time on your future builds, especially if you build a lot of little villages or things you use over and over again. Or maybe you want to bring something from one map to another. Anyway, this is a new feature. I don't know a whole lot about it yet, so we'll learn more as we go. Okay, I would actually like to bring our guest on. We ran a little bit long on our intro and news sequence because of the audio issue we had there in the beginning, and also TikTok crashing when I went live and I had to restart the live. So I'm going to introduce our guest, and we'll bring them up on momentarily. So for those of you that don't know, our guest today is Quentin. Quentin is our junior dev who works on a lot of cool little cute quality of life features and improvements for Dungeon Alchemist. Things that you may not even notice or realize, and things you probably use all the time. We're going to show a couple of things he's been working on today when he gets on the stream, so I'm excited to share that with you. For instance, an example of something that Quentin's worked on in the past was the modular object tool. He's done, a lot of work with that, improvements, fixes, etc. We could discuss that more. Other tools, etc. We'll bring him on, discuss that at length. We do have some questions already locked and loaded from the Discord. I don't know if any questions came across chat while we were waiting to load. But anyway, thank you everyone for being here today. Give me just 1 minute. We'll change the scene and we'll bring our friend Quentin up on. Got to mute this music before we do that. Otherwise, y'all will be deaf. Okay, let me turn this up. Hey, I see him. He looks so bored. I feel bad. Made him wait. Hey, I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself really quickly? Let me see. Oh, I got you muted here on my side. There we go. Okay. I can hear him now. Can you all hear him? Say testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody, thank you for sharing your Saturday with us, whether it's morning or evening where you're from. Currently in my place it's evening. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a little late there for him, or it's getting into the late evening. So hopefully you're cool with hanging out with us for about the next hour or so.
Absolutely. I'm not off to bed for quite some time yet, so you have me all to yourself.
Are you a late night person, Quentin?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, you might have, yeah, well, you're not on the same hours as us, but if you would be in Belgium, you would notice that, I think, also on my response time online and stuff. I'm a late person.
Gotcha. So you're like a bit of a night owl? Do you game at night, or are you just like enjoying working at night?
So working at night is very rare. Then I must really have been feeling useless during the day that I think I really need to finish this thing. But mostly gaming or just doing everything not to go to bed yet, being a bit irresponsible. If I can, my brother doesn't live near me anymore, so I usually communicate with him through gaming. So that's also a moment for me to spend some time with my twin brother. I have a twin brother.
You have a twin brother?
Yeah, I have a twin brother. He's like me with long hair.
So identical twins.
Identical twins, exactly.
So look at this handsome gentleman. There's 2 of him. Jeez.
You're flattering me.
Ladies, watch out. Watch out. Okay, so Quentin, I appreciate you being on today. Absolute blast to have you on last time. And it's been a little over a year since we had you on. Yeah, honestly, the stream format has changed a little bit since the last time we had you on. I don't think it was the damn show, was it?
No. That's before the damn show, exactly. Yeah, so I think we're quite happy with the format now, right?
Really, I mean, the format's pretty good. There's been some tweaking since it started, but overall it's pretty good. I think the community enjoys it. They enjoy the interviews. But though you're not interviewing me today, I'm interviewing you. I'm just kidding.
Yes, of course. Can I just comment first on the sets we saw?
On the what?
First on the sets on the first feature you showed, you wanted to call it prefab, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think the reason we're not doing that is because we're using Unity, and prefab already has a really strong definition there. So I think we will be like permanently confused. And
gotcha.
all confusion that we can eliminate is even better. But just now, sometimes I talk about editor and I mean Unity, and then Wim thinks I'm talking about our application, and so it sets. But first off, I have nothing to do with it. It's all Guile, but I do think it's one of the most groundbreaking features of the next update. I think it's going to be really weird having that we ever worked without this feature, having used DA without the sets.
They just really love picking feature names that sound questionable if you're not listening carefully. So we got
Yeah.
sets and the asset picker and among others, but it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I've already brought it up with them, hopefully. Anyway, that's hilarious, though, and it is a good tool. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with it and what our community does with it. I imagine there'll be like a large subset of our community that just start building sets exclusively. And just kind of do that because they enjoy decorating, but don't necessarily need to build a map or anything. So I've got a few questions here from our Discord. I've got some questions as well. I've kind of asked you a couple, but Quentin, how long have you been doing, development? So application game development as a whole.
So a short timeline of my professional career. It's not a long career since I studied quite long. I think I was 26 when I stopped when I graduated, because I did engineering first and then went to DAE, which is the Belgian gaming school, which is it's a really small world. Most everyone who's in this sector went to DAE in Kortrijk. Us and Aiko went and Magdalena went, so we sort of knew each other even before we worked at Dungeon Alchemist, which is really Kenny also went. So basically, all of the younger people working at the company. Everybody's young, but I mean, like not Caro and Wim.
I'm kind of old too. I don't know. How old do you think I am?
I'm going to dodge that bullet.
There's no bullet to
40,
dodge. I'm not going to get offended. I'm 39, so I turned 40 this year.
Oh, right. Okay, nice. Yeah. So actually, same as Carl, right?
Yeah, I think Carl and I are around the same age. He's either we're like right around the same age, but yeah, I'm definitely one of the elders on the team. I feel like.
Right. I think it's Wim, then Karel, and you, though.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
We have a new colleague. David, right? He's a new dev on the team.
Oh, that's right. Portugal. I haven't really met him, unfortunately, so I don't know him that well.
No. He's doing great work, but I won't. I'll let him talk about it. I was talking about how long I was doing game dev, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So after my studies at DAE, somebody convinced us to start a company with my brother and me. That went not rather well. Basically, we had a company, but not a really solid idea of what we were doing. And at that time, we struggled a bit, but fortunately, I found out Kyle needed a QA developer. So just somebody to sift through bug reports you've been sending with the in-game bug reports tool. And I was, anything. It's not really development, but I need food, and he needed the sorting, and I was really big into D&D, so I thought working on this product would be amazing, even if it was just going through a long list of bug reports. But then I sort of Trojan horsed me into the company because he saw that I could program, and he was asking me to do features from dev side, just internal things, some tooling. And then he was, hey, you seem capable enough to do some user features, basically. And that's how I became a full-time dev. So I never actually took a development test during the hiring process. Fun fact: at the same moment Kyle gave me the job, I got funding from basically the Belgian funding program for gaming at Van Waf. So that meant that the first year I was working for DA, I had to simultaneously make a project with my brother, which was really fun to do, but we pitched it as a multiplayer VR game with procedural generation, which are the three biggest red flags in, hey, we're gonna make a little game. So we managed, but I was really happy for that to be over and that I could just focus on working on Dungeon Alchemist. So that's the short version of my journey through game dev.
Well, thank you for that tale. I appreciate you regaling us with your history there. You said you did bug report stuff, worked on that initially with DA. What was the first, like, you said you transitioned into, feature design. What was the first feature that you created?
It's still in. I mean, do you mean like client side or just on? Because internally, the first thing I did was Kyle needed a way to test objects, so just brute force place all objects in a room. So I just made a tool that did what we do in DA, but then dynamically just create a room and then spawn every object, delete every object, and just to see what kind of errors it generates. And
Gotcha.
It's still in. I don't know if it's used, but it's still in. And the first thing I did that was really visible in the program, I'm not sure, but it might be something like the hue shifts, the color hue shifts
Gotcha.
modifier.
So the color hue shift modifiers, which is actually probably almost on its way out, I'd imagine, as we're kind of moving forward.
Yes, exactly. Because one of the other big things I've been involved in is the color swatch modifier and the brushes. And you were mentioning sort of like tools people use on a daily basis, and I imagine those are the one people
trying to
touch
find one
most
with a
on.
hue
I
shifter
would
on
have
it.
done.
Continue.
Try plants. So maybe
Plants.
like the
Oh yeah, there's a
palm
lot of
tree.
plants that have them. That's right.
Yeah. Those might keep them, but on furniture, we're really full on the color swatch modifier, which is also going to get a bit of a revamp towards next updates. It's rewriting all over the board.
There's a lot of changes happening. I've from what I understand.
Yeah.
So the color swatch or the color swapper, the hue shifter, as we call it, was essentially sort of like a Band-Aid solution until we could come up with a more elegant option, or essentially make a what is essentially a skin for every object that matches those color tones. Correct?
Exactly. It's just brute forcing our way into the texture of the objects, picking the color, and then shifting the HSV value, one of those values, to get another color. So if you know something about color models,
What it reminds me of is when I was younger. Well, I guess there's filters on like phones and cameras and stuff. But I had a camcorder where you could like press the filters and it would change, and it would be like a black and white or a sepia tone, or they had one that was like an inverted mode and the colors would all invert and be different. So there is a few different options there, but I think what we're kind of going towards now is like all the pre-configured colors that we kind of hand pick, right?
Exactly.
These look much better, and it usually covers most colors that people are interested in. So
we do hope so. The thing is, the U shift modifier being a bit of a Band-Aid tool, it didn't give all the colors really. It was sort of like a Gaussian curve, so a bit more in the middle and stuff. So we do hope with the color swatch, intuitively, you have less options, but we do hope that we have like the most prominent ones that are needed. We're also expanding a lot on that. They've been doing a lot of wood recoloring and stuff in the new update. So I'm really happy to see that little color swatch tool that was used during the desert update to swap out water, that it now is doing some heavy lifting in giving objects a bit of a new life. Makes me really happy to see the art team working on that.
That is awesome. That's really cool. So we've talked about your past with development and, design with Dungeon Alchemist and what got you to this point, what got you started with your career with DA. What's something you're working on now with Dungeon Alchemist? What's like recent?
Rewriting. It's always rewriting. Currently I'm rewriting the snap system. Unfortunately, Mac was told we couldn't really show it because oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So it's top secret stuff.
Well, what
no,
you were
it's a feature
snapping
that
in
will
it is
be
the problem. Snapping isn't the problem.
exactly. The snapping isn't the problem. What we were snapping, we're doing some extra special stuff, but it's quite experimental. So I've done a sort of a prototype of this last year already. Caro was then in heavy development and now has had the time to go and evaluate some systems. And we're trying some new approaches to make it more future-proof and to make it communicate better towards the art team. Because the problem with having developers develop a feature is that while it works, it might sometimes be obtuse towards the art team. So a big part of development also goes in talking to each other, to the people who will actually be configuring objects and say, hey,
hold on one
what
second.
communicates clearly?
1 second. They say there's a sound issue. Is the issue still persisting? What's going on? I'm not hearing it. Stand by. Stand by, my friend.
No problem.
Oh.
I think they were talking about the shh noise. You shushing them.
Ah, okay. My bad. I misunderstood, took it quite seriously.
It's okay, you're handling a lot of different things, so
yeah, no, it was me shushing you.
Subtext,
Got it. My bad. Okay, we're good. Continue where you were discussing how you guys are trying to future-proof features and make them more integrated with the art team. So I'm assuming when it's designed from the design aspect, you miss things that the art team might need in their design, or maybe even the community might do and you don't even foresee.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Wim is a beast in this aspect. If you make something and you think, hey, this is pretty decent, just give it to Wim and he'll find, well, bugs, of course, but also just ways of using a system that you're like, oh, right. And people are going to try this too. And then, so we need to have another go at this. But it's a big system. It's a complex system. I mean, for me, it's quite a complex system. Yeah, so I'm rewriting that. That's what I'm currently doing.
Cool. Sorry, my cat came over and wanted attention, so I'm gonna just hold him.
Is that a Maine Coon?
Yes, it is.
Is it a Maine Coon?
It is a Maine Coon.
Oh, it's beautiful.
He is very handsome.
Great.
He is so handsome. He is so handsome. He knows it. So
what's their name?
This is Montrazar, or Monty for short, but we just call him Meme most of the time.
Meme, okay. Hi,
Hey,
Meme.
Mina. How Mena? He's got about 1,000 nicknames. About 1,000 of them.
Okay, so there's two very special guests on stream today.
Right. The cat sometimes, or the dog will wander the way in when I'm streaming and they want attention. So the stream is nice. It loves getting a visit from them. But sorry for the interruption here. You were talking about a new feature you've been working on with the team for the next update. Is there anything in particular you've been working on that you want to share with the team or with the group?
Well, the thing is, the update's been in development quite some time, so I'm just thinking, the dragging is not in right now. That's still a new feature, right?
You said it's not in it yet?
I don't think so. It's not in the current, because I think I made that end of last year, so, but it didn't make the cut already. So that's something I'm pretty happy about, that we got it in DA, the drag feature. So just for clarity, there's some objects that we felt if we added sort of an overload on the mouse click, that you just don't just place one, but you drag it over the screen and it spawns a whole bunch of them, that it would be practical, not with one of objects, but with certain types of platform or structures. It could really, really ease the flow of the building stuff. And it's also rather satisfying to just like go over the screen and just spawn a whole bunch of items. So I'm quite liking that one.
So
should I
I'm
talk
showing
about
it on
other
the,
features
actually,
too,
let me
or-
pull that up on the stream right now. Stand by.
Yeah, that might be nice.
One moment. Just a moment. Where is the video feed?
We called it very on the nose, just dragging feature internally. I'm not sure if it's gonna have another name.
Stand by. The source like froze. I gotta reload it.
No problem.
There it is. Oh, yep, I gotta resize this. Stand by, everyone. Just gotta move this to the bottom here. And we're gonna hide the question panel. Yay, okay. This cat is purring so loud, goodness. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. So this feature here, I thought I had it playing in the background, but it was not playing at all. There's actually a little bit cooler.
Of course.
Go ahead.
So no, so go ahead.
I got this other clip that I think is quite awesome. This one particular. This really shows how amazing this.
Yeah. That's really fun to do. It feels like you're a kid with a pencil and just drawing on a piece of paper.
Man, it would be cool to just like tablet mode, just draw.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this feature here? And you said this will be in Fun with Objects too?
Yes, I hope it does in the current form, but of course the powers that be might make some decisions I'm not involved in. But this is just basically quality of life updates. The objects are in, and we're adding the drag on the mouse wasn't used, so we thought that's just a bit of real estate we can use to make people's life easier, because people have been making maps in which they're trying to put some fences up against a hill or something, because this will work also with terrain. It's a bit too bad that I flattened the terrain here, because this will actually follow. So if you take fences and you want to go all around a hill or a mountain, they will just increasingly like little stairs be put down, and you don't have to do this manually. And yeah, we've seen maps on the workshop with people using these assets like this, so why not make their lives a bit easier? That's often how we think when we're adding stuff like this.
Can I ask you a question with this? So what
Sure.
if you want the fences all at the same height? Let's say I raised one of the fences on the z-axis just a little bit, right? Before I started pulling it and dragging it, would they all be at the same height then at that point? Because normally if you raise or lower an object on the z-axis and then copy it, all the copied ones are on that height. So
yeah.
Sometimes you want the wall to go straight, but you want it to merge into the ground to look like it's been built into it.
So there is a free mode which would ignore everything and ignore terrain and just place them on the initial height, but then you'd have to start from somewhere. I don't know actually. It might be that based on how DA is built, I get this behavior out of the box. but I just simply haven't tested it yet.
Okay.
So
I
it
just
might
think
be
there
that I
might be
try
a
this on my
use case for
device.
both. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, of course.
sometimes you want the wall to kind of slope up with the hill. Other times you want the wall to be very level and the hill crests into the wall. So either or.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you explaining that. Oh, cat wants out. Hold on one second. Okay, there you go. Out of here. Sorry for the interruption there. Okay.
So I have my work Trello on in a different tab, and I'm noting suggestions. So if you
We
see
may
me
just want
type,
to
it's
test
not me
this in the
dozing
build
off.
later today, and I'll let you know if it works. Because
Yeah, exactly.
I can switch to the build after the stream, and I can test it, let you know. But let's
Sure.
see
Yeah,
here. Thank you for adding that to the notes, and you and I can collaborate more on this, off stream.
I'll be
Let's
glad
see
to.
here. The next question comes from a user in our community named Lowkey, and they ask from Discord. What feature or assets in Fun with Object 2 are you most excited about?
Might have jumped the gun a little because I really like the drag feature. Just to me, it seems elegant for those use cases we mentioned. So yeah, I like this. It feels really nice to do.
It's a very cool tool. I think you did a great job.
Yeah. Well, and if I need to mention a runner-up, it's definitely the snapping, although that's not entirely a new feature, but we will be adding some stuff to that. So it's to be continued.
I guess suggestions are kind of questions if they're framed the right way, Atlam. So
Sure.
make sure you're just collecting them in a list, and we can kind of go over them. Keep in mind, at the end of the day, where we're at in development, it isn't really a malleable point where we can just add a ton of things. But there is a point after everything gets done. I just call it the magic hour, where Carl likes to grind out so many things on his to-do list. And I often try to catch him just before that to make a few suggestions, because I've learned that he will just one day be like, I don't know if I can do that. And then the next day it's there in Dungeon Alchemist. I'm like, I don't really understand how it works. I've often said I think it's a warlock pact or some kind of tech patron
Yeah.
or something. But anyway, that said,
So
go ahead. What were you
Kyle
going to say?
is a bit of a force of nature. I don't live too far from him, and I have a small second job where I teach a few hours, and it's actually behind his corner. So after I teach programming for a few hours at a secondary school, and then I go to Kyle and we can talk about some features, and then mostly it's just me being a rubber ducky, and he just spitballing some solution on the spot. You just give him like a premise and then maybe a constraint or two. You say, yeah, I tried this and that doesn't really work. And you'll just in real time see him think up a solution that works around that. And I think the best thing that happened to DA for the dev team is that Karel has started actually using Dungeon Alchemist in personal games. And it gave us that gave him a lot of motivation to add things that he encountered himself. And I think that's really good.
Oh, it is good. No, it's very good to use your tool more often, especially for personal
Yeah,
use.
just to eat. Exactly, to eat your own dog food and then to like, this tastes a bit off. Why is that?
Well, if it pisses him off, he'll definitely get it fixed.
Yeah,
That's one
but
way. It reminds me of the story of that guy who went through the whole interview process to join some dev team. It was like some game like
yeah.
Clash of Clans or something, and then he joined the bug fixing team, and then he jumped in, worked for like 3 hours, fixed the bug, leaned back, cracked his neck and his knuckles. He's like, I'm finished, and then he quit.
Yeah,
And he fixed. I don't know
yeah.
how
Then
true
it
this
becomes.
story is, but it's funny regardless that this guy just
I want
basically.
to believe it.
I would love to believe it's true, but at the same time, Carl in this case using DA more though is good. I think he kind of got to a point where he was more focused on the development, not so much focused on the game aspect of it.
Yeah,
And
which
it's
is
It's easy to get
The
burnt
problem
out
is
on one side when you're focused on the other a lot. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, that's why we need to talk to other people, to the community, to the art team, because you're getting into a sort of tunnel and then start not really seeing what's it about sometimes. So it's good to have people or a different perspective, to be honest.
For sure, for sure. I always love that the dev team is receptive to community feedback, especially.
Yeah,
There are so many, companies out there. I'm not going to disparage any, but it just feels like you're just talking to a wall, or, it's really not, the feedback's not being taken to heart, more than anything.
yeah.
So,
I mean, we try because time's always a constraint. We're struggling sometimes with features. I'm also not at the level Karel is, so we try, yeah.
dude, don't sell yourself short. You're quite smart. And I mean, I can't count how many times I've suggested something to you or talked about it with you, and you come up with a brilliant solution. So I appreciate that. Often when I do have to talk to a dev more urgently, I'll reach out to Quentin, because usually he'll respond to me much quicker than Carl will. No, nothing against Carl. Carl's really
Yeah,
busy. So,
no, no, yeah, it's just he's a bit of the heavyweight on the dev team, so it's just he's doing important things, and he has the tendency to, if he's really like grinding on something, to like really isolate and get into the zone. But yeah, that takes some improvisation from the rest of the team some. But it gets us magnificent results, just like the roofs, the roof algorithm and stuff. So
oh my goodness, that's like a piece of brilliance. I'm not joking. I was telling him he should license it, but he's like, "No, I'm just going to give it out." I'm like, man, EA is going to take that and try and find a way to license it
yeah,
themselves and keep it for The Sims. I swear, they've been trying to do that for years, 2 decades, and they haven't gotten it right. So
yeah, it's amazing.
it's a very impressive tool. Now, moving on from Carl's accomplishments, though, because you're hanging out with us today. Um,
Okay.
let's see here. I've got another question here, um, that's from our audience. Let's see here. Will the feature that allows the grouping and saving of objects be available in legacy maps? Do you know offhand?
So I haven't worked on this system. I will say this. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Because it's just objects. It's just we changed the backends. May change the backend how objects are saved as groups, and sets are sort of a variation of that. Groups is when stuff is parented. I'm not going to go too deep on the
The
system because I'm
variants?
going to say things that are wrong. Yeah. So I think you can assume you'll be using this throughout all the older maps, newer maps. Don't worry about that.
Honestly, in most cases, most features are backwards compatible. The only instance ever in our entire development of a feature not being backwards compatible is multi-level and like roofing.
Exactly.
So that is, like, I understand it's a concern that a feature might not be backwards compatible, but typically we strive for full backwards compatibility, both because there's a massive repository of legacy maps on the workshop. I'd say around between 5 and 8,000 that are just legacy, and maybe even more. And we don't want those to be considered a waste. And most maps aren't, and not all maps are multi-level or need to be necessarily on the same page. So I think a lot of those older maps are still very useful. And I kind of get the point of what this person's going for. I think what they want to do is copy a bunch of object sets from an old map that they spent a lot of time designing, or one that's really cool on the workshop, and then save that object set and then take it to a new map. Because a lot of the work's already been done on the workshop. So in theory, if there's a legacy map out there, or one of their old legacy maps that they want to copy stuff from and build a new map that it is multi-level, it would save them time in redecorating the new rooms, because they could just literally copy all the objects in each room or each area and then paste them onto the new building, as long as it's roughly the same size.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're touching on something really good here. It's this will allow people not only who are working on legacy maps, that because of the floors they can't use all the new features, but also people who might have a little setback, something going wrong with a map crashing or anything, but that they don't lose the whole all of their progress. So this might be a bit of a workaround in that off case that something goes wrong with the DA also.
Be cool if we
So
could
I think it
copy
will be very useful.
buildings, i.e. rooms, from one map to another. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
neither here
The
nor
interior
there.
is already, yeah, the interior is already a pretty big thing that you don't have to like redecorate
You definitely
a
spend the
room
most
exactly
time
the same.
decorating by hand. Drawing a room floor plan
Yeah,
doesn't take long at all, in my opinion. So now, next
exactly.
question here from Low Key on Discord. Which feature or perhaps a bug, even a bug, was the most difficult or frustrating to create or fix?
Right. So I thought about this, and there was this one thing. I'll try to explain this in a bit because it was a really weird technical thingy. But you remember the grave slabs? We were having grave slabs where we can add text to.
Yes, the
I'm not
custom
sure if
text on the
that's
gravestones.
yes.
Yes. Continue.
Exactly. And there was this slab that was just like a little bit above the ground, and you would place a few of them, and then you couldn't select them anymore. They were unselectable.
Wow.
And since I was working on the text the text tool, I was kind of frustrated because, well, it seemed like I had messed up. Like it was, hey, your texting is blocking the clicks or something.
I
So
have some
this was
teasers from this
really
from in the
annoying to
past,
me.
so I can pull it up for reference.
Right, exactly. So I went deep for this one, and I was particularly proud because it had nothing to do with my thingy. It was like a really um, hidden bug. Uh, short story, we're doing caching of collision. So you put in this object, then you delete it, you add another object, and the colliders from this one will be reused. And there is an option on some of these colliders that make it like not clickable, and if you would place objects in a certain configuration and then another, that it might be that an important surface got sort of a property that it was unclickable and made you go like, what is going on here? So I figured that out. I didn't fix it myself because it was like a really integrated system, but I flagged Karel on this, and he was like, okay, cool, yeah, we need to change this. That was really obscure. I was just really happy it wasn't my modifier messing things up. Modify is what we internally call everything that you put on an object that makes it able to change it. So like the color swatches, the opening and the closing of stuff,
Lighting,
that
I'd
sort of
imagine,
things.
stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Animations, things like that. So this feature will make it into Fun with Objects, if I'm not mistaken, Fun with Objects Part 2, where you'll have the
Yep.
custom gravestones and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is it, you can put text on almost anything, or is it only on certain objects?
So this is a modifier we added to certain objects. So Kenny handmade the type fonts to make it like golden or wooden. So this was a bit of a cooperation between Wim, Kenny, and me. And this will be specific objects.
Cool. I'm just curious because it'd be neat to just select a spot on the wall and like drag a box and then write some text, and put it on the ground or the wall anywhere. And that way, people who don't necessarily have an ability to make graphics like that could add that type of effects. Like even the decal tool, you still need to have the graphics ability to, make graphics to do that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it would be interesting to have to access this modifier without a visible object, as if
so it's like an abstract
just one
would be
exactly
just
an
a new type
surface that's so that you can just add text anywhere in the room, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Or on any object for that matter. Like
yeah, sure,
as long as it's flat or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going through the questions one at a time in the order they were received. So if you've asked your question, please don't ask again so the mods can, keep an order of everything. By the way, welcome to those that have come in the last few minutes. Mondu, glad to see you here. appreciate you being here, my friend. I know you got a lot going on in your personal life, so thank you for being here. Also, like I said, questions, we're going through them one at a time. We're going to address them in the order they were received. I do have a positive little comment, though, from Atlam. I just want to address really quick. Towards you, it's a comment of appreciation. My interactions with Quentin have never been anything but absolutely brilliant, helpful, intelligent, and courteous. Many thanks and much appreciation. Much power to you in your endeavors. So, some
Thank you.
kind
That's
words.
yeah.
Go ahead.
What I'm hope to be as a part of this team. So it's nice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So we Atlam is one of our moderators here in the stream and also in Discord, and just an amazing community member. So it's always nice to hear their feedback on these things, as they're a well ingrained member of our community. Next up, we have a question from Anani. What is your favorite Belgian beer? And why is Carmelier triple? Why is it Carmelier? Is that
Carmelite?
Carmelite?
Yes, Carmelite. It's
Carmelite?
it's Carmelite, exactly. So I saw that question before, and I'm going to have to disappoint you. It's not Carmelite. I don't think it's even in my top 5. So I'm really sorry. It's a good beer. It's a good beer, but we have so much stuff here. I generally La Chouffe is sort of a go-to for me, which is a hefty blonde beer. I like it a lot. But I'm really also into sour beers, stuff like Alexander Grand Cru and things like that. Funny, actually, this very week, we have a sort of bi-weekly game night. Magdalena, which is one of the artists, Karel, and then a friend of Karel, his name is Gertji, really nice dude. And I brought a bottle, and I thought it was just a triple, a blonde beer, but actually it was a sour beer, and it was really good. So yeah, fan of that. Yeah, so you ask Keuze lover. More sort of like the red brownish sours than the Keuze. I'm a bit fiddly on the on the exact categories there, but yeah, but Keuze is not bad.
A bunch of beers I've never heard of. I think the only Belgian beer I've
Yeah,
had is
sorry.
like Stella. Like,
Oh yeah, that gets exported a lot. It's like our standard thing, so we always have that at home.
so wait, Stella is kind of like the equivalent of like an American beer, like a Budweiser or something. That's like you're
Yeah,
always in the
exactly,
fridge
exactly.
beer. That's interesting.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
a lot of people in
Yeah.
the U.S. will have it in their fridge and think it's a fancy beer, and
Oh no,
by
it's
American
what
standards,
students drink.
it seems like it's probably much fancier though. So
Oh no. So funnily enough, it's a student beer in one big university city. Everybody comes there, just drink Stella. Yeah.
so that's interesting. So when I was like in school, our student beer, it was the cheapest beer we could get our hands on. So it's called PBR, and that stuff is disgusting. It is awful. So I'm just curious if that's like the relationship you have with it.
No, Stella's good. Stella is good. It's solid. It's like a nice in between beer if you want. But I'm gonna be very honest. If you ask me to go and drink a beer, I would never pick up a Stella. I'd be sort of disappointed if I went to a bar and we were just drinking Stella. On a party, that's fine. If we're going dancing a bit or we're at a festival and you give me Stella, I'd be super happy. Or just here with a buddy on my porch or something, that's great. But at a bar, no, we drink Chouffe or Carmelite or stuff like that.
Gotcha. That is interesting for sure. Interesting. Such a difference.
Sorry, beer, Belgian things.
No, I get it. Beer is like a big culture thing there, and here it's
Yeah.
more like I wouldn't call it a culture thing. If anything, I think drinking's on the decline in the U.S. But
right, everywhere a bit.
yeah, I think the younger generation just isn't as into it as much. But
Yeah.
that said, I love talking about Belgian beer with you. but we do have a lot more questions from the community.
Yeah, of course. Just stop me to
No,
go
no
to the
worries, no
questions
worries.
whenever you
I
feel
don't
I'm
mind
rambling.
branching into the subject, but we have a lot of people adding to it, and
No,
it keeps
no,
spiraling. So, looking
let's keep
back over
going.
the years, what feature, and this one's from Low Key on Discord, by the way, what feature
Hmm?
or fix are you personally most proud of, and why?
Um, I'm going to risk repeating myself a bit,
It
but
happens.
yeah, I do love the color squatch because it's proven to beat the test of time a bit, and it's still being used as a staple for the artists. Once I make one of these features and it's sort of at a good place, I barely hear about it anymore, and I just see it being used on all these new assets I don't know are in DA, and that's always a nice surprise. And actually, lately I've been brought back to develop a bit more on it because we've been adding heraldry sprites. Can we
Hmm.
say that?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
talk about it.
Okay. Okay. So a bit as in is on screen now. I have a bit of latency, so maybe it's not anymore.
Let me see if I can
But
pull it up. 1 second.
on the flags, yeah. And it's sort of a similar system that we made it, where instead of selecting the swatch with the color you want, you select directly from a pop-up menu the heraldry icon you want. So this is still an older system in where we were swapping it. But then funnily enough, Wim was asking me to revamp this system a bit. And then I made it with a pop-up menu. And I said, yeah, this is just an in-between to get the backend going. I'll change you back to the arrows. And he said like, no, 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 no. This is actually nice. Let's keep
It's
it
got the
as
little
this.
mini
So,
images or whatever now.
yes, yes, yes. So it's really just like the swatch menu, but then of course we made the buttons a little bit bigger so you can actually see what you're selecting. And you could just pick your heraldry icon from the menu directly instead of cycling
So
through it
now
as
instead
you
of
see here.
cycling like this is actually an older preview. It actually has a drop
Yes,
down
this
with
is
a
an older
bunch of
preview.
different images in it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
colors.
That's
Similar to
my bad
this,
for
but
sending you this.
no worries, no worries. I mean, that's kind of the thing with these teasers. There's bound to be some that are older and kind
Yeah.
of alpha beta stuff. So,
Yeah, so
um,
the swapping would be, so the last one would be the same like swapping through the different figures, but then just the icons would be selectable now. Yeah.
nice, nice. I mean, knowing which icons they are instead of sifting through 35 of them is really nice. So I appreciate
Yeah,
that very
yeah,
much.
exactly.
It's a big time saver. And I think there's actually
Yeah.
another feature kind of in this same breadth being released too in the update related to variants that shows all the variants in a new tab coming out. They just did a
Right,
teaser of
right, right,
this
right.
last week or whatever, so it's public. But there'll be a new bar
Yeah,
coming out along here when you select a variant object, and it shows images of all the variants. So you can pick one,
yeah,
or you at least have a preview of all the things it'll cycle through. Anyway, that's
yeah.
really great and very intuitive. I'm glad we're doing that. Thank you, my friend. Let's see here.
Got a lot to say about that content panel too, but I'll leave those comments for if we have time after the questions.
Go ahead if you've got, I mean, anything to say about it. I want you to say it while it's fresh in your mind.
Right. No, it's just so when you select an object, you have it as a brush, and then we give you an extra pane with basically the options. So in every color for the color swatch and stuff. But internally, we had to think about what about objects that have different swatches. You have just the shield you saw, it has 3 different swatches. What do we do? Do we make permutations for everyone? So that's the sort of questions we need to ask ourselves. And would it be like more unwieldy or less unwieldy if we made what 30 multiplied by another 12 by multiplied by another option? So then we sometimes we need to kill our darlings and say no, we'll just choose like one of those, and then the others to have to change ourselves. So this is still in development, but there are quite some questions that arise from the feature.
To be
Um,
honest, though, having a drop down in selections is way better than hundreds of objects, in my opinion. Like,
yep,
one object, you can cycle through a bunch of variations and make hundreds of different objects is way better than hundreds of different objects you guys have to hand make and design and
exactly.
put in. So
Yeah,
while it takes a
I
lot of
tend
work
to
in the
agree.
beginning, like the upfront, I think once it's all configured, it's just so much more versatile for the end user. So,
No, I agree with you absolutely. It's way better to have these dynamic objects. I'm playing a bit advocates devil's right here, devil's advocate, sorry. But the problem with these dynamic objects is we have a history of the menu showing available objects, which is nice for starting users who don't know about all these modifications. They just see, oh, this is an object that's available, and this is a slightly different object that's available. And that's something that gets lost a bit. That's why I think now lots of objects that are variations also have these variations in the menu, which make the menu quite obtuse sometimes. And that's sort of a trade-off we're having there. But I tend to agree with you that the dynamic objects are better, and I think with the content pane we're moving in a good direction of having a less unwieldy menu and still showing a lot of options there,
for sure, for sure.
if that makes sense.
No, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Okay. This question, shifting gears a little bit, it's still related to map making a little bit, but it's not a development related question. So, what is your favorite D&D class to play? Um, Go ahead and answer that, and then we'll continue with the rest of the
Yeah,
questions.
definitely Warlock. Um,
You
might be a
like
bit of a
having a
one-trick
magic daddy?
pony. I like having Magic Daddy. No, I think it just I always love grittiness. I think Warlock is a sort of caster that's grittier than like the smart wizard who was learning a lot of stuff at school, or a sorcerer who gets some
They're the rogue of
fancy
wizards.
heritage. Yeah, exactly. So there's that. The grittiness is always nice. Then I just like the versatility of, hey, I get a bit of magic-y stuff going on, but also not powerful enough that I can rely on it totally, so I need to have something else going too. So I like the versatility of it, also in combat and non-combat situations, and just the narrative behind it. You can go so far with it. I long played a long time ago. I played a warlock that was really non-confrontational. So basically got their backs because they were non-confrontational and didn't dare say no to some otherworldly being. And it's sort of an aspect of my own persona that I made larger to create this character, which I think is a nice thing, a bit of like play to lose in there. So that I, funnily enough, I think lots of people did this. I recycled this character ID to play in Baldur's Gate, so I played this really ugly halfling, which messed up some of the romantic scenes.
Because you were out of frame in them, or you were by their knees half the time.
Yeah, well, exactly. Just that, and then don't want to make too much spoilers, but you can make your character really ugly by going in a dark path. So it's basically like a one-eyed, fully weird, veiny halfling that went along with Shadowheart in the water, and it
You're
was
like
this is
Mad Eye Moody, but a halfling.
yeah, exactly. Good comparison right there. So my friend who loves Baldur's Gate and is enamored with all it was watching it was like, oh, you're totally ruining this. How could you? So yeah,
I mean, it's your game. You can play it however crazy you want, right? If you want to
of
have a
course, of
one-eyed
course.
halfling that looks like he might be the assistant to Frankenstein's Dr. Frankenstein, it's no big deal. It's what it
Yeah,
is.
exactly. It was yeah.
But okay, we got some more questions flowing in, so let's keep this moving here. From Anani, continuing that question, and I actually have an answer to this, so I'll address it. But
Go ahead.
has Briganti been in contact with Larian Studios or ever thought about it? Yes. So years ago, there's an interesting story behind this. The devs were at a convention. They had a booth set up with a Dungeon Alchemist demo, and some guys came over to the table and started chatting them up. and they're like, wow, this is really cool. And they were playing with it for a while, and come to find out, these guys are like the lead and like a producer and lead for like Larian Studios. And they are playing with Dungeon Alchemist for like an hour. They're like, this is so cool. We got to go do something. They come back later and play with it even more. So they started building up a relationship with Larian years ago. And I think they went to visit them a couple years ago to hang out at the studio. Did you go? Yes, I'm super jealous
No,
of
I
this.
didn't know it was. Yeah, no, it was just Karel and Wim. Yeah. I have some context here.
Go ahead.
So I think even before that, the Belgian gaming scene is a small world and was even smaller back in the 90s. And so when I was still in diapers, basically, these people were on first name basis. So Karel and Wim are in this world a long time, and they have sort of a personal bond with Sven de Vinke from before he was sort of untouchable gods in the gaming landscape. Now he only talks to like Mark Spencer and the people like that. You can't go call him up and hang out for a beer anymore. But they used to know him like that. So funnily enough, this a convention you mentioned, it's Facts. We go every year, and last year I don't think he came, but most of other years he goes there like incognito, walks around, and always stops at our booth. And I immediately recognized him. He gave a hand to Karel because they know each other, and so I instantly like put my hand there, giving no other room than just like also shake my hand, and I bragged to all my friends about it. I was like, guess who hands I shake? Yeah, yep, the dude who made Baldur's Gate 3.
That's really like, cool.
Who are you?
That's really cool.
Yeah, the guy doesn't know me. It's like, just who the fuck's this?
You just got a picture of you shaking hands with him, like the Michael Scott meme from when he's the salesman.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly that picture. Just like, and he was like, sure, man.
The deer to headlights handshake. Love it.
Yeah. Didn't wash my hands for weeks.
You know, I met a dev hero of mine once, and I had a similarly starstruck experience. I'm still a big Battlefield fan, but I've enjoyed the Battlefield franchise since I was like 16 years old. And I played pretty much every Battlefield game ever, quite a bit of hours. I've kind of grown out of them in recent years. I even still play them, though. They just draw me back in. But anyway, I used to get invited to like EA Play, which is a conference they do here to kind of showcase all their stuff every year. And they do them in like in LA. And I went one year, and the DICE dev team was there with a booth for Battlefield 5. And I knew they were going to be there, but I didn't know like it was going to be the dev team. I just thought it was going to be a demo booth. And I designed and 3D printed a Battlefield 5 logo. And I took somewhere around my office here somewhere. I got to find it. But anyway, I took it with me, and I kept it all protected and stuff because I was worried it would like melt or like all these issues, because 3D printing's finicky years ago. So I took it and I got in line, waited hours. I get in line, and then I go to play, and I pull it out. And I was like, hey, are any of the dev team here? I was wondering if maybe they could sign this, right? And so they're like, holy cow, this is so cool. They leave. They're like, can we borrow this for a minute? I was like, oh, gosh, as long as I get it back. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm really nervous about this because I only have the one. And they're like, cool. They come back like 5 minutes later with like 10, 15 people from the dev team who were hiding out in like an inside area that was nice and cool. And I see it here. So they signed it for me. Bunch of different signatures. But the creator of Battlefield, his name's Lars Gustafsson.
Oh, cool.
He signed this as well, and I got a picture with him, and it's kind of like that. I'm like all excited, and he's just like,
yeah.
I feel that.
Oh, that's awesome.
In my bones, bro. But yeah, it's so fun to kind of meet those dev teams that you just love the games for, or the people who've been making like so much happiness in your life all these years, and it's like, it's kind of interesting to them. It's probably just like, they're like, nah, but to you, it's like a big, important deal.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, Let's see here. Next question is from Atlam. Do you play other pen and paper TTRPGs? If so, you currently part of game? If not, what's your favorite system?
So I mentioned, just to preface, when I was about, I think from my 1920s till half my 30s, I had regular D&D games going on. It was so bad that so I started playing 4th edition, which I know we don't talk about. But then I failed my math exams in uni because I was busy reading the manuals for 5th edition instead of studying. Because I thought that was way more important. And to be honest, it was totally worth it just doing my math exam over the summer in retakes and just being able to play D&D. I see somebody says,
You know
for
what,
reasons
Atlam, you probably love Thaco too. So you know what? I don't want to listen to your opinion on this. And I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I know
yeah, no,
4E gets dragged a lot. I never really
yeah,
played it, so
it's 4E is a bit of like the Dark Souls 2 of the series, and it has a special place in my heart. So no, I get it. I was just doing the meme. But yeah, but so now recently, I mentioned this before shortly. We're having a quite regular game of Blades in the Dark. If you know the system.
sorry, the system is what? I didn't hear that.
Blades in the Dark.
Blades in the Dark. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so and I absolutely love it. So I've introduced this to we were on a conference call and me, and I introduced him to the system, and he sort of knew it, but and he was like, "Hey, this seems awesome. We should really play." And then a year after that, we got together with Magdalena, one of the artists who doesn't live too far either, and then one of Kyle's friends, and my twin brother before he moved. So we played a full season with then my twin brother with, and now we're doing this like the second season without my brother, but still the 4 of us. And I'm actually the DM there, the game master. Which is really fun because I love improvising. I love just like making up characters, doing silly voices, and then just doing like visual comedy and taking people off guard. I love it. I've never done anything in like theater of stuff because I don't have the time, but this is like my moment to sort of like dabble in that. I'm sure a lot of people who do D&D feel that too. It's like a bit of a podium. And I love the system because it's really player driven. So you have a lot of agencies. You can call everything to life, and it works with flashbacks. So it's sort of like Heist, Peaky Blinders, Dishonored Worlds, like Victorian age, and you're doing heists, but you're not planning anything. So all the planning you do backwards. So if you're in front of some guards, you can say like, "Oh, flashback! I went drinking with this guy, and I have his family tied up in my basement somewhere, so he's definitely gonna cooperate with us." And then you say like, "Okay, cool," to pay some sort of resource, and then you say, "Yeah, we're back in the present. This guy's super scared, leaves you to the door, acts like no one passed, and just
so
goes
you're
back to his
playing
shift."
a Quentin Tarantino movie in a game.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And it's so fun because
Quentin plays
while
Quentin Tarantino.
yeah, yeah, that's how I introduce myself to English speaking people. It's like, yeah, Quentin, like Quentin Tarantino. So I'm happy somebody has my name. But it's really cool because you're supposed to play a sort of gang and build your gang in this dog city called Duskfall. But the thing is, they really wanted to play a restaurant, and they called it the Dungeon Alchemist.
Oh my gosh. Like mead,
So
like
that
the
sounds
drink,
horrible, but
or meat,
yes,
like
no meat, like flesh meat.
oh my goodness.
So instead of doing like heists and kidnapping important people and socialites and politicians, they're just going around trying to secure like meat supply and stealing
So,
pigs and stuff like that.
all right, the Dungeon Alchemist devs, in their free time, they run a butcher simulator.
Yep, exactly. Of course, they get tied up in all sort of situations.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, more like, wait, I'll type it in the dungeon I think it's spelled like this.
To unwind, we run a fantasy butcher shop where the meat may or may
Exactly.
not be human, but
Yeah. So if I may just like tell a little bit more about this,
go
I'm not
ahead. Go
going
ahead.
too
Sorry.
off, but
Go ahead.
uh, I'm- well, one thing they had to do was kill a giant eel in the sewers. Like it's a really dystopian. Like the sewers like full of cisterns, full of dangerous stuff. And it was like a giant eel, and they killed it. And how the system is set up is that the action follows dynamically as a result from other actions. So that's why I, as a game master, don't have to really plan a lot, just give like some interesting characters and situations and then just like follow the logic conclusion from there, which is really nice. But so normally you're supposed to note, okay, what factions got pissed off by this, what factions are happier now. And we were like, yeah, they killed a huge eel that was obstructing the way, so I guess everybody's happy, right? So nobody should like lose reputation over this. And then we joked like, yeah, of course, the Confederation of Eels wouldn't be happy with this. And just as a joke, I put it on the paper that keeps track of all these things. And since then, I've been like secretly building up to season 2 of the Confederation of Eels being an actual thing and basically taking over the whole city and stuff. And it was like such a whole thing when I mentioned, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's real! It's real! It's real!" So it's like really, really
So
funny
this
to
confederation of eels, how are they taking over the city?
This would really take us far. I shouldn't we take other questions? It's just like, yeah,
You know, we get
I've built a
tangents
lot of
sometimes,
characters.
and this is a tangent I want to follow. I'm interested.
Okay, well, so so season 2 starts. Okay, starts, and basically there's this organization called the Kelp Philanthropist Foundation. And so basically, these people have united behind a sort of charity front that gives poor people jobs in factories and offers all kind of services to other political institutions, and they just like work themselves into everything and then sort of like indoctrinate people with. Have you seen Fight Club? You know, like the task forces on Fight Club that like take people without any goal in life and then start indoctrinating them and doing increasingly more dangerous stuff. I sort of based it on that.
Yes, I live in a country where that's happening a lot. Let's not talk about it. But
Right,
yes,
right. Yeah, let's not
yes.
talk about it. But yeah, so the funny thing is, I consequently mention like, okay, so the Kelp Philanthropist Foundation is now doing this or that, and then sometimes I slip up and I say, okay, so the Confederation of Eels, and they're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. No,
Oh
no, no,
my gosh! Hey,
I mean
wait! You got to
corporate
stop.
foundation. Yeah,
Hold up! Spoilers.
sorry.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that Carl is watching.
Oh, is he watching?
He's watching
Oh
on
no.
YouTube. He's like, I had to mute the
Oh
stream
no.
because my dungeon master started spoiling. I didn't realize he was
Sorry.
watching. I feel so
He
bad.
knows this. He knows this.
Oh,
The last session was a big reveal, but okay, I'll stop for his sake then.
well, I was hoping and praying that these eels somehow took over people's bodies like body snatchers, because then
Not
they'd
directly, no.
be like the Gould, which are, you know, the bad
the
guys
Goa'uld from Star Trek.
from Stargate, my friend.
Stargate, sorry, Stargate.
No worries,
sorry.
no worries. Yeah. But it kind of reminded me,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, the Eel Confederation's going to take over the town. I'm
Yeah.
like, how would eels take over the town? Maybe they body snatched people, Goa'uld style. But you know what? I'm just going to give you some ideas. Throw that grenade in there, lit, or the dynamite lit, cool. And then you can go with that. But hey, will you let Carl know that we're not going to talk about spoilers anymore, so he can listen?
Yes, I'll put it in chats. So that's.
Well, he's in YouTube right now watching, so I'm gonna have Atlam.
Oh, so he won't see the chat. Okay.
But you could probably ping him on Discord and say you're not going to do any more spoilers, either or. Moving on. Next question.
I'll ping him.
We have a couple questions that are related to development, and I'm just going to address this really quick. This is from Dev Mech earlier. They asked, when can we expect to rotate the objects in every direction? Would be cool to be unlimited in that. That'll be in our next update. Fun with Objects Part 2. If everything goes well, it should be launching by the end of the summer, but subject to change. You never know what'll happen. As the old story goes, I'll likely find a bug and slow things down, or Quentin will find a bug. We all find bugs. And then it just, I'm just kidding. Carl also puts a lot of effort into these new features to make sure they're tip top and really solid. So he'll spend a lot of time, developing a feature out and make sure it works really well before it's actually something we release. That said, though, we're getting, I feel, really close to the kind of endpoint where we're kind of getting closer to more teasers and more dates that'll be solidified and whatnot. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested in our upcoming development and when the ability to rotate objects on any access will be available. If you look carefully in this video, you can actually see there's arrows. Let me turn on my mouse highlighter. It disabled. Where did the video go? There is, I guess, arrows here and here. This is actually part of that tool where you can rotate the object on any axis. Well, it's this one and this one down here. So it will be available in the next major update, so you'll be able to play with that. Moving on from that.
Stage 2 is actually a little bit on the side, but yeah, you don't really see it in this preview.
Next question is from Low Key on Discord. I believe you had a lot to do with creating the Rails system, so thank you for that. I was wondering, are there any plans to add a train object to be placed on those tracks? We already have the hand cart, mine cart, even a subterranean drill. So a steam-powered locomotive would be a really cool addition. Just a thought. Is that a question or a suggestion? I guess it's kind of both. A little bit of column A, little column B.
Gonna be honest, asset suggestions are more a call for whim. I just do the systems and additions to the objects. So this would be something that should get to Wim if we want to add a train, yes or no.
I have a question that kind of goes along with that, but it isn't object related. The rail system and the modular object system. Would there be a way to make, say, a minecart travel down a set of rails if they're all linked through the modular system?
I mean, sure. The thing is, when you ask a question like that, I think the answer is almost always yes. As in, I think we can do almost everything. It would just be currently the system, to add context to that, the system is not adapted to it at all. So this would be a totally new way. I mean, you need a lot of changes in the backends to make this happen.
If anything,
but I do understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I understand intuitively. You see, okay, we have Rails, so you think would be great if we could really go all Railway Tycoon on it and have stuff going around on it. So I get it, but it's not adapted to that currently.
If anything, I wonder if a consideration towards putting objects on some sort of rail system, even if it's not an actual rail, but more like an underlying system where an object can be on a track and it follows a path, like a token walking around an environment, or like an enchanted sword bobbing around, or any number of things in the environment that you may want to have on a loop, animals flying around, or stuff like that.
Exactly, sort of to make cinematics, right?
Yeah, and we do have some objects that have animation, but not many. And also objects on the workshop do animate, but there's one downside to that. When you load up a map new, and if there's multiple objects of the same type that are animated, they all start their animation at the exact same time, so they're in unison. It looks very eerie, and like it's like one of those, you have to go through and pause them and like kind of unsync them, so it's not so creepy. In a creepy map, it works great, but usually it's problematic. So Sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something there?
Yeah, I like skulls of fishes, and they're always rotating exactly the same and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Um, uh, it's not something that will make this update, but I do
Oh, I
see
doubt
us
it.
making stuff like that in the future. So I think it's realistic that after the release of DA, we might be looking at stuff like that. But it is really tentatively and more for Karel and Wim to talk about.
Stan, this is your map. I love it. I found it earlier on the workshop, and I just think it's beautiful. Fantastic build. A Steam viewer is watching and said, "Hey, this is my map." So, got to give him some credit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Yeah,
castle.
honestly, I usually see maps when I'm in periods of testing the maps in the bug reports, and sometimes I get maps like these, and I'm always amazed, like, wow, how can these people do this with DA? 'Cause I'm a little secret. I'm not really adept at working with DA. I'm more for the quality of life functions, like rapidly make some runes and stuff. It's the customization, like this is pretty neat.
To be honest with you, I mean, I think with all map making tools out there, it's kind of like DA makes it easy to just jump in. But I think almost anyone would need a little bit of practice to get to this level of like, like
Yeah.
detail. And I mean, this looks really neat and everything fits together really well. Like I often, when I'm building castles or forts, I almost always make things a box. And so this here, it like already makes it look way lame by comparison what I make, because it's got multiple tiers. You got roadways, walkways, towers in multiple places, different size towers, different
I wonder
elevations.
if it's based on a real place.
Let's ask him. Stan, is this based on a real map, like a real castle out there somewhere? Or did you just make this straight from the dome?
Oh, I see. Highland Lass is also in chat because I was thinking about her when I saw this. She also makes stuff that looks like really realistic.
Yeah, she bases a lot of her maps off of like real locations. So
yeah.
Next question here from Mondu on Twitch. Is there a feature in DA that was your idea?
So not the whole feature, but I was tasked with making the brushes a few years ago already, and well, that was nice. You could for forest and stuff. There were some things that it was quite lackluster that you'd expect more patterns and stuff. So adding patterns to the brush, it's something I prototyped a little bit back when I had some time to prototype things without people asking me. And I said like, hey, I think it was over a Christmas period and people were out of office, and then I made a brush sort of that it's made it into a grid, and I showed it to Wim, and Wim said, okay, this is great, and we're doing more stuff. So it got built upon a lot by Wim adding to this idea, but originally making patterns for the brushes, I think I came up to that. I don't want to go with someone else's achievements, so if I'm misremembering, I'm sorry.
You're talking about these right here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think I said, hey, the pattern one would be good, and then Wim said, hey, why not do like a circle one, and then we added the spline one too there.
Yeah, they're fun for sure. For those wondering, these object brushes allow you to quickly paint the object selected in that kind of pattern, which, make yourself a quick little barricade, or if it's circular, that's great for like a fairy ring or any number of things. It's quite a fun little tool for sure. A little Roman fort with the pillars. Circular, anything, skulls. The circular brush is my favorite. The pattern brush is also really cool because then you could do like fields or like a cemetery really quickly. Go ahead.
That was what I was thinking about. We had a pumpkin brush, I think, and I said, sure, but pumpkins, fields aren't as random as this, or like a sunflower field that was way too random. And then I thought, okay, cool, the patterns, let's add that. And the nice thing is, since we added the custom brush now, you can basically pick anything in DA and start brushing it in patterns or randomly or as a circle. So that's a nice little added.
So you can make your own Christmas tree farms. You gotta just place a tree, right? Watch, everyone. Ready? Collaborate and listen. Okay, so you select the object and then you can turn it into a custom brush. And we're gonna select that pattern and then just they're all in a nice little line. Decrease the density, increase the size.
Yeah, you see again, like a really exactly the Christmas tree farm. Oh, I see. We got an answer in from Stan from the map.
Several. I blended Mott and Bailey and concentric castle designs. I also drew upon a great book, Life in a Medieval Castle. Chapter 3, The Castle as a House. Nice, Stan. Thank you.
That's nice
for letting us know.
Yeah, thanks. It's cool that people use like outside inspiration to instead of just like cobbling stuff together. Gives really nice results.
Well, especially when you use something historical, because a lot of it's going to be very accurate.
Yeah.
Though I mean, often we tend to muddle fantasy and history when they're two different things entirely. I mean, well, when it comes to tabletop gaming, I think a lot of people will take historical castles and put them into their fantasy settings. When fantasy, that the same rules don't always apply. You can have weird, whimsical designs that don't always, it's not always as important to be as defensible.
No, exactly. Right.
Let's see here. Next question is from Mondu. Oh no, wait, this is part 2 of Mondu's question. Is there another Quentin idea in the oven or for the next update or later updates? So that's like, have you come up with ideas before? Is there one you're working on that'll be in a future update or recently made?
Let's see. I have a long to-do of stuff. And
I imagine half of my suggestions are part of that list.
Yeah,
Sorry,
there's
brother.
a lot of just no suggestions of you, but also things I've seen, and I think, well, it's not entirely my own idea, but we do. There was a time when we had less to do, where we thought of adding some more connection stuff. Like with the rope, now we get ropes and chains and electricity, I think, but it'd be nice to maybe add a sort of clothesline or spider webs or a slime, or I don't know, whatever that you can link between 2 points. But I'm a bit afraid we won't get to that quickly, because that's also a system that I feel would need to be rewritten. And yeah, we need to get updates out, so that's probably more of an afterthought. But it would have been nice to see some evolution there. Hopefully in the future.
Well, I'm, honestly, I just to know that it's a thought in the back of your head that you're like always considering improving those aspects is good. I do love the tether feature, and it's already gone through several iterations already, like that I've seen.
Exactly.
We originally only had a couple objects that like could support it, and it's like you wouldn't really know unless you place a couple of them by each other. Now they have the linkage on them, the UI, so there's something going on with them, but it still requires some experimentation, right? But there's so many more objects with linkages now, which is great. I really love that is at least a core mechanic now and can be expanded upon and improved.
Yeah.
So
it's really in still baby steps, but it's in there. So whenever we find a time, we know we can build it up and add stuff to it. It's one of the system I've mainly been building, and it's always a bit dangerous because when Kyle comes looking at it, it might be that he sees some stuff and says like, yeah, sure, this works, but this needs to be like more tightly integrated, and we just rewrite the whole thing before we can add to it. And I feel this is a system that probably would go through that life cycle of feature development, and that's why it's a bit on the back burner now.
For sure, for sure. Okay, next question here. Sorry, my window crashed. Well, my Discord crashed here. Let me pull it back up.
Take your time.
Since Dungeon Alchemist isn't technically a game, I was wondering. Oh, this is from Low Key, by the way, over on Discord. I was wondering if you have a favorite game that you enjoy playing.
So I'm a big FromSoft fan. So much that I'm now reliving Elden Ring vicariously through one friend I could convince to also play it. It's really hard. I don't have a lot of people in my neighborhood that play it. So even my brother, I can't talk to him about it because he played it with me just for fun, but he doesn't care at all about Souls games. So that's but apart from Souls games, which I play on my own, I play a lot of multiplayer games with my brother, and we're a big fan of grand strategy. So Paradox Gaming, you know some of them probably. Europa Universalis, Stellaris, stuff like that.
So you're saying Paradox games, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Stellaris, Europa, Universalis, Crusader Kings, stuff like that.
Crusader Kings, exactly. I guess
it's funny. You like a lot of the games that my son loves. He really loves FromSoft games. He loves Elden Ring and Dark Souls type games a ton. The games that torture you, he loves. And then he also played a ton of Europa, like a ton. He loves those games a lot.
Like hundreds of hours,
thousands, bro. He loves both of those.
Oh no!
He is.
Can I ask you how old he's?
He is turning 20 next month.
Okay, cool.
He's actually really mature and has a lot of like knowledge about history. That's why he loves those games. But like, and when it comes to FromSoft games, he just loves a really challenging game. That like he feels most games are too easy nowadays or kind of on rails. So he really appreciates a more difficult game. And I was just like, man, it just seems like you're torturing yourself playing those games, but he really does love them and comes up with some good strategies for them. Anyway.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's great to hear. I
just like, I get it, man. It's like one of those games that's super challenging. And when you succeed, it's got to be so satisfying to like get through some of those.
Honestly, it's a bit the same way I feel about programming. It's oftentimes we don't need to glorify it. It's a lot of frustration, but then once things click and you're in the zone and you can pop a feature out, you're just for a little moment, you're just on this plateau, like, yeah, I can do everything, and then you do the next thing, and you're like, oh, I stuck. How did I ever do this other thing? So it's a relatable experience both professionally and in my choices of games there. Yeah.
Honestly though, they're beautiful games. I love watching him play. I just can never play them myself because they drive me crazy.
Yeah. But we're talking about two totally different types, right? Because the Souls games,
both of those games are frustrating to me, man. I tried Stellaris with him and I stunk at it, man. I was like, oh, this is like Age of Empires. No, it's not like Age of Empires at all.
No. Like, it's a big learning. I must say, I've been playing it for 10 years at least, and that's also about the time it takes to sort of get a grasp of what you're doing. But also these people, they remake the game every 2 years. So every 2 years you're just sort of playing a totally
tutorial phase is not a big deal. It's just a decade. Once you get it done, you'll be really good at the game.
That's not even a joke. Yeah. And the worst thing is Europa Universalis in Hoi 4. Actually, I got introduced by a friend of ours and my brother. And Hoi 4, I'm still at that phase. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So much that they like just casually bully me when we're playing all the time. I just have like no idea. But honestly, there's also no other way to learn and just go in deep and then get wrecked a few times and then keep learning. But yeah.
Oh, he's told me he's talked my ear off on those games, so I get it. There's a lot to
I
them, and there is
imagine.
like a lot of like both in the strategy games, like understanding the actual historical past is incredibly helpful, but also there's like
Yeah,
all these random events and RNG that are involved too. But like it's frustrating, but also cool. It's a very interesting game.
yeah,
I
yeah. I
love
definitely
watching it
understand
for
people are
sure.
not into it. Yeah.
Okay, next question here is from Mondu on Twitch. How complicated would it be to add a special abstract object with access to features other objects have, such as linking rope, chain, lighting, shooting cannonballs, light emission, other behaviors? That's interesting. So, you know how when you have an object, you can obviously add behaviors to it, lighting or an animation or whatever. So, in this, or linkages. He's asking if we could have a blank object or even the ability to add this to objects in the importer would be pretty neat. I know we have, animated and the lighting filters and stuff if it detects a light source. But is there any consideration of a more customizable abstract or refining what things can be done with imported assets? Like, hey,
Um,
sorry,
so
go ahead.
I'm just going to rephrase to see if I understand what the request is, right? Because so add modifiers to sort of abstract objects is a bit like we done with the abstract lights, as in you can just have a light anywhere and it's not fixed to a specific model like that.
No, I think what they want is say, let's say you wanted to make a custom object that you can link between two objects. So the linkage tool would work on a custom object. Or
That you
the
import yourself.
yes. So essentially right now a lot of those features are essentially tied to very specific objects, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So would it I guess what
Um,
they're asking is if more of these features could be available to an abstract or possibly to the asset
yeah.
importer so they could start importing more customizable assets or objects.
Well, I wouldn't mind outsourcing a part of my job to our user base, so that's definitely a positive. Um, but so I think from a technical standpoint, it would be okay if you just ask as a difficulty is this impossible or not. I don't think so. I think it's pretty realistic. It's quite some UI work, but I think the problem is more when we're thinking about a feature. The technical implementation is one thing. A lot of time goes into figuring out what would be good design, what would translate well to users with less experience, more experience. And I think this is something we would need to think long and hard of, as in how do we expose this to the user? How do we make this readable? And I think that might need a lot of nifty UI work and stuff. So technically not hard. Design, I think harder. If that answers your question.
Yeah. No, and I think a great example in importing an image of like a vine, right? And then having a linkage where maybe the edge of that image links to another image. And so it kind of just stretches it out and makes a simple linkage between them. Or if an object had you could set a linkage type even. But these things are way advanced and way down the road. They do sound more advanced user features. I'm not going to lie. When you say it out loud. But at the same time, a
Yeah.
big driving force behind our community, the maps on the workshop, the assets on the workshop are, I would say, a lot of power users in our community from day to day. So it's
Yeah.
always good to listen to their feedback and kind of
Yeah.
wonder how we can improve those tools, if anything.
Yeah, because for the record, I don't think it's a bad idea, not at all, because I think we got a lot of people enthusiastic to learn these systems and make things with them. But not basically it's a bit of what we do in the backend, and we struggle with it, and the way it is, just in Unity, and then having to translate them into a neat package that people would enjoy working with it. That will be the hard part. Yeah.
This question, next question, is from Lalandra on Twitch, and this kind of revolves back to what we were showcasing earlier. It was the shield, the heraldry object, the dynamic object there.
Yeah.
Will dynamic objects be highlighted with a UI icon so at a glance you know that this object has a special feature to it?
This was something you requested too, Mac, right?
Yes, we discussed this a little bit in a prior conversation. At least almost any special object that has either the ability to add a image to it or change its features should have some kind of UI identifier. So
I'm recalling the conversation I had about this with Wim and Karel, and while they agreed we definitely should do this, we held off on using the system we have now, because usually how we would do this now is add an icon to the button in the menu. You have the 3 dots or some icon to indicate it's a drag object. But a big feature we're adding now is that we get an extra content pane with the permutations of the stuff you can do with the modifier. So that would make it visible to a certain extent. But now that I think of, you would already have to be clicking on the button to know that then. So, but we were holding off on that because we're developing that system, and we're gonna see how we can mesh the visualization with that. But yeah, it's definitely something we're thinking of, because I understand.
I wonder if maybe the pane
all these
system
modifiers
and a UI type thing could be integrated, where like if you highlight an object that's customizable, maybe the pane would expand and the top icon would be like a paintbrush or something to just indicate maybe if there's not variance, but at least there is, hey, like a key that represents different things this object has on it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Just something, if anything, would be nice that at a glance know which objects. You said they're overlooked often. You know, you guys will put a lot of effort into an object with all these features and it's overlooked. It's because people don't know it has those features when they look at it at a glance. They have to place it and then play with the UI to see that. So I think it is a good idea if the UI at least gives an indicator or some sort of hint that it does more.
I can confirm that the team is aware.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I can confirm that the team is aware that this would be a good idea. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Thank you for confirming that. Lalandra, I hope that answers to your satisfaction there. The next question is from Low Key. In your expert opinion, this is some shade right here. In your expert opinion, which male member of the DA team has the best hair?
Yeah. So honestly, I think I'm the only runner-up, because I don't think we have. Oh no, Kenny. Kenny's awesome hair.
Kenny's got a mane.
Kenny's he's like long hair and a beard, so I'd have to say Kenny. Sorry, I was thinking about Kyle and Wim and David, and I forgot Kenny actually has awesome hair. So prize goes to you, my man. Kenny's our technical artist. I don't know if we've had him on the show.
I need to get him up on for sure soon. So.
Right. He's a bit shy, but I'm sure he will enjoy.
Low Key starting the cauldron. I'm kind of suspicious Low Key might be someone else's alternate account. The name alone makes me suspicious. Low Key, huh? Both is the god of mischief, and the phrase means to kind of be on the lowdown. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's see here. Continuing, Low Key. Anani from Twitch asks. You know what? We talked about this earlier, and I told you it would come up. It's coming up right now. Will the upscaled linked pipe offset bug be fixed in Fun with Objects Part 2?
Right. So we've tested it right before the stream, but I just need to ask you, Mac, when you tested it, was it in the live build or in the dev build?
It's in the live build.
In the live build. Okay.
One moment here. I'll pull it up and we can show everyone. So
Yeah, because I tested it in the dev build, and I haven't been able to reproduce this.
let me zoom in really quick.
So yeah, this is the Steam build, right?
This is the public build, not the
Okay,
dev
okay, okay.
build.
Yeah, no. So
This is
so there it's broken still.
so I'm going to set this object down and I'm going to scale it up. Okay. I'm going to click the linkage and then I'm just going to click this. But if you notice, it's offset. It's raised and to the side. So the size matches, but the offsets are wrong. The snapping is incorrect.
So
likely
this is a
that's
good
patched
catch.
in FWO2, you said?
I can confirm that I could not find it in the dev builds. I've been testing like in the 10 minutes before I was on, because it really annoyed me that it would still be in, because I thought I fixed it. And I'm going out on a limb here and say this is fixed.
Okay. I will double check in my build later too, just to see.
Please do, because if you find it and it's still broken, I really need to
honestly,
look at this
sometimes
one
the
day.
live build and the test build behind the scenes function differently. I've noticed that. That's how I found that bug with the Unity bug, where there was not, the assets were being invisible because we'd hit the ceiling of like the amount of assets we could have in the build we had of Unity.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was. But the reason I found that is because the live build or the dev build I was in was showing it, and it wasn't showing it in your guys's. And I was like, a lot of these objects are invisible. Can you guys look into that? And they're like, they're not invisible for us. I'm like, can you just check the live build? Because lots of objects are invisible, like lots of them, like half of them. And when they finally checked, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the whole reason we had to migrate, was because of that. So like, I felt so bad, but it's like, oh my goodness. We absolutely hit the ceiling. We won't hit the ceiling for that now until like the sun runs out of energy. Good
thing. Let's hope that's at least 50 years.
Till the cold death of our solar system, we'll be fine, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that is a good question, and I think hopefully this will be solved in the Fun with Objects live build when it is available. But I will double check in my build just to see after the stream, at least.
Yeah. So I hope you won't be pinging me, and then we know it's fixed.
Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's see here. Next question. Okay, this one's from Highland Lass. I am working on tweaking the roof line, or a roof line. Is there a chance that the freestanding roof overhang thingies which snap to the wall or other objects can be resized? That's a great question. You know, I hate that we still have some objects that are locked, that are like I understand pit objects. That makes sense because they are locked into the ground, right? But wall-mounted objects, I see no reason why the end user should not be able to resize them. They're like almost all locked. A good chunk of them are, where they just cannot be resized. So, do you have any insight?
Help me? Because I'm not quite sure. I think it's something I don't deal often with. If you can just help me and illustrate what the problem is.
Yeah, one moment. Let me find. Trying to find. I know we have some overhangs. I'm trying to find this one. So there's these shingled overhangs, which are designed to hang off the edge of a roof, because most roofs aren't just perfectly seamed, they're overhang, right?
Right.
So we only have like one
these
type.
These things can be scaled.
And apparently these objects cannot be scaled. So you can raise and lower them. A, they only match one or two types of roofing, so we don't have enough to do overhangs for every type. B, they cannot be resized. So maybe if you want the eave to be shorter or larger, you can't do it. It is frustrating in that regard. And because it's a double wide object, you can't work around it with the freestanding wall trick. So there's a trick where if you put a freestanding wall out like this, right? You could put an object that's wall mountable like a painting and then resize the wall, and then the painting will resize. So there's a way to get around it technically within the architecture of DA, but some objects for some reason have this hierarchy thing where they're still locked. Like I could understand a well that makes a pit hole, but this particular certain objects make zero sense.
Yeah, I'm not involved in the configuration of objects, so my guess is as good as yours, honestly. But I took a note, and I can definitely ask the reasoning behind this, because scenario A, there is a very good reason for this. And then this probably some constraint we need to take in account that I don't know of. And reason B is it might be a legacy thing, and we can just like allow it.
This is I
So
think
I'll
this
have to
shingle
check.
came out when we launched roofing. So, but
Okay.
one, I would say this is a prime candidate for that drop down because we could have one shingled roof object and have every shingled roof type as a drop down in it. So people could just add this to any roofing they want. But that being
Yeah.
said, that's a different object, or that's a different issue entirely. Being able to,
Yeah.
once you disable collisions, being able to resize the majority of objects should be the go-to, in my opinion. I think if
Yeah.
the user's like, hey, I want collisions off, it's taken off the training wheels. They
Yeah.
understand what they're
All
getting
bets
into.
are off, right? Yeah, that's been the philosophy in DA for a while now. If you do collisions off, you're on your own.
So I would hope at least eventually we give people more freedoms in that regard, because stuff like this where you're
Yeah.
like getting the no smoking sign when you're trying to resize a shingle that has really no reason to not be resized is like frustrating
Yeah.
as all.
Yeah, and I yeah.
But let's see here. Next, Anani from Twitch says, as a Souls fan, have you tried Lies of P? Amazing stuff. I would recommend.
I was in doubt. I haven't played it for the record. But I was this close to buying it last week and trying it, but I got really skeptical reading some reviews. But maybe I should grab it on a sale and go through it because it looks amazing. Um, and I love Souls games, so I really need to try it. So thank you for the question. I'll it's on my Steam list, and we'll get to it once we get to the shame stack.
Asmodeus, one of our moderators, asks from Twitch, were you able to make some of the green assets in the 90-degree position? I don't know what he's have you had a conversation with him about this before? Seems like you've discussed it before.
I do not recall. I'm sorry if we had a conversation about this.
Asmodeus,
I'm
is this
sorry.
something you guys have discussed in the past? Because it just seems like. Anyway, regardless, moving on from that really quickly. I think I know.
Oh. You need to refresh my memory. I'm really sorry. Is it about abstract objects or?
So honestly, Asmodeus, something to consider. Pretty soon that won't be an issue when you can rotate all the objects. I think one thing is like most of the abstracts, and I think this isn't something you really have anything to do with, but they're just going to ask anyway. Most of the assets are like in a vertical subset, I designed around like a wall pane or something like that, or a door, like its verticality, its size, right? And how the texture mapping works on it. The other ones that are more square shaped, they're laying flat. They are ground based. So like if you want to make something that is a different shape from like the vertical ones, you usually have to like use two of them to make a square side by side. And I don't know. I think ultimately, different shapes of abstracts would be helpful to our community. But once we have the ability to rotate most of these shapes, it's going to get rid of a lot of these issues. Being able to put the square one on the wall will solve a lot of billboard related signage issues where you want to make a custom sign, and being able to put the circular one also same thing. So I think object rotation will solve a lot of that issue, but at the same time there's always going to be some abstracts that we need to fill the blanks. Luckily though, we do have tools like the asset importer to kind of further kind of come up with solutions to fill those blanks.
Alleviate a bit.
Honestly, Asmodeus, I would be surprised that you couldn't come up with an even better solution through the asset importer than this. But I do understand the ease of use with abstracts, because Sometimes you don't want to go through and create a 3D asset. You just want to import an image and call it a day. And it always works better if you have more templates to choose from. So I agree with that sentiment. Though I do think that's probably not something that Quentin has too much influence over at the end of the day. I don't know. I may be speaking out of turn.
No. Yeah, you're right. I wish I could pitch in, but I'm not really following.
So let me show you. Abstract objects, they only come in certain shapes and sizes, right? Which means you can only design around those shapes and sizes. So, for instance, this wall panel, which also outdated because it's shorter than regular walls now, notice. Remember we were talking about this earlier? This is the same thing with abstract walls.
Oh, yeah. It's the same as the freestanding walls.
Freestanding walls and abstracts are now shorter than regular walls, so they no longer match. That's an issue, A. B, let's say you wanted this square shape right here on this wall. You can't, because there's not a square abstract that goes vertical. But that's not going to be an issue in a couple of months.
No, of course.
And soon you'll be able...
I think that answers the question.
That, though, I do think we do need to update the abstracts to reflect the new wall sizes, because these are designed to make round walls. They no longer match. And this one was designed to make, walls or things to fit on walls, and they no longer match. That's something I'll talk to Wim about, though. No big deal there. Anyway, I think that's more something that Wim would deal with directly than anything.
No, of course. He has a good idea about these things. He's also the one who actually configures all of the objects. So these are good questions for him.
I think a lot of times they're never sure who needs to get the question asked to, so they just like to ask all the questions they can. So
absolutely do. By the way, I'm not expecting people to know who's responsible for what internally. So ask away.
This next question's from Atlam on Twitch. Are you working on a software project not necessarily related to DA that you can tell us about?
No, not intensely. My brother has had some interest in recreating a school project of his that he thought had a lot of potential. It was a really nifty prototype. He made a sort of game where you would control a horde of Vikings instead of just like one little dude. And then these would like blob together with some flocking mechanics. You could go near other enemies and then kill them and all. And he asked me to help him a bit on the dev side. But I think I wanted to make things too complicated because it was in Unreal. And it was a while ago that I had worked in Unreal. And I really wanted to program and not use like the spaghetti system from Unreal. I think I made like harder than he had to be. But I'm really happy to assist him if he needs something. So it's like, hey, can you figure this out or make changes there or just help? My brother's really good at being really enthusiastic about like innovative solutions and like game ideas and stuff. So I'm always happy to support him. But personally, no, not really. I have the joy of being able to work on a products professionally, so I don't feel the need to make other games specifically in my spare time. I would if I had more time, but I'm also a musician, and that also takes quite a bit of time that I don't have. So it's a bit pick and choose.
What instrument do you play, or instruments?
Oh, they're here. This. A guitar. Wait, I probably.
Are you gonna serenade us?
I'm not gonna play for. No, I'm not gonna play for. There's another guitar. I'm too. I mean, no, I'm not gonna play.
Oh, not even one song.
I'm sorry.
Why are the dev team so nervous about playing music on the stream? Everyone's admitted that they play pretty much.
If I would have known, sure, but it's also the quality wouldn't come over well. But if we would have the chance to encounter each other IRL, I would really love to play something. I actually really
I've been
like
trying to
playing
get
for
Carl to play his
people face-to-face.
drums on the stream for like 3
Yeah, I've
years.
seen that. I've seen that. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'd like to see Carl play the drums too. Uh,
Maybe
they
someday
might feel
with
more comfortable
the
playing it in an
damn
ensemble.
band,
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
jam
maybe we
band,
should.
the damn band.
Yeah,
Did you hear
because
that?
I'm not a great guitarist, but I mostly do it as for singing, as to just guide myself. So we have vocals, we have a sort of guitar, we have a drum, so a damn band could be a real thing. Who knows?
That's funny. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. But I do a bit of songwriting, but it's all in Dutch, so you wouldn't really enjoy it. I think you wouldn't really understand it.
I
I
don't
think.
mind foreign music sometimes. On occasion, it's usually not a problem. I honestly, I find
Okay,
a
well,
lot of foreign music to be really good, but I tend to
yeah, no, I
learn
get
what
it.
those words mean more because I'm interested in it. I swear, growing up,
Right,
I've
right.
like let's see here. I learned about like a German band named Die Prinzen because like they had some songs I liked back in the day. And then of course I liked Rammstein back in the day. And
Right.
like
Yeah.
but that's German, not Dutch obviously, but still you get the
Yeah.
idea. I've listened to
Yeah.
like Somalian rappers and stuff. There's like all sorts of
Nice.
different cultures that have interesting music. I'm never like locked in
Mm.
just because I can't understand what they're saying, or not locked in.
No,
But yeah.
true. There's a lot more to music than the lyrics, of
Oh
course.
man, the tune is way more important to me than what's being said more often than not. But yeah. Dude, it's
Yeah.
awesome that you are into music though. And I don't mean to cut you off there or put you on the spot.
No,
Next
of
time,
course.
you know what? This is what's going to happen next time I have him on, which I'm going to invite him back on 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now. I'm just kidding. It would be hilarious to get you back on to that quickly, but no, probably won't happen. But it would be great at some point to hear you play a song on the stream. I'm sure the viewers would love it. He's so
Sure.
nervous.
I can do some
Oh my goodness.
cover or something. I have some songs.
Or even one
I
of
like
your
to
own
play
songs if you
sometimes.
feel brave enough.
Yeah,
No.
who knows?
Who knows? He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna say yes because it'll be like a year from now.
Well,
No
I do
one will-
have like a song or two in English that I could do, maybe. Who knows?
Well, sorry to
We'll
put you on
see.
the spot with that
If I
one.
know beforehand, I might be inclined to play before my camera.
Let's see here. I think we already addressed DevMech's question. That one's pretty much the same question, just differently phrased. So we're good there. And then Shira Gianni's question, I think you addressed it as well. But that's more of a support related inquiry. But yes, you can import custom 3D files to Dungeon Alchemist. The asset importer located under the Steam Workshop tab is where you go. You can import full color 3D models like an FBX or a GLTF/GLB file. So you can do animated, full color, and also just simple STL files, which will be like a blank 3D file with no major color other than like a flat gray, but you can apply different color filters to it, solid colors. So they're more like an unpainted token when you import an STL. That's how I kind of think of them, as like a mini you're about to paint where they're that flat gray you get right out of the bag. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
I honestly, our interview segment went extra long today. I feel so bad keeping you up extra late. But
No, it's not a problem for me. But if you have other things to get to, I don't
honestly,
wanna
the
get in
other
the way.
segments are very secondary compared to our guest segment.
All right,
always.
okay, no
So
problem.
I like to think of our guest segment and the Damn Challenge as our primary segments in each stream. And the other segments, it's like if we get to them, if there's time, we'll get to them. But all the rest,
Okay.
those other ones, you're the guest today. You are our star here. You are hanging out with us, sharing that peek behind the curtain that is DA, but also a little bit about
Yeah.
yourself and your life, which I very was appreciative for, to get to know you like on that way, because we really only talk, a couple DMs here and there, and maybe a team meeting once in a while, but it is nice to get to know you as a person. And I'm
No, of
sure
course.
our community loves to get to know you too. Um, Quentin, I just got to say thank you so much for being such an amazing guest today. I
I'm
honestly,
having a lot of fun. So
I really do appreciate every time you come up on the stream or every time we have an interaction. You're just such an amazing person to deal with. So thank you again. Can we get some kind words in chat, and some well wishes to Quentin before we send him on his way today?
that's very generous.
And
Also, some kind words for Mac because he's doing a lot of effort to get shows like these on the road. It makes it look easy, but the technicalities of having all the streams up and the sound going well, and puts a lot of effort into that, and into debugging DA for us and nudging us along the right path. So thank you there too
I
for
hope I'm not
all your
annoying
hard
ever.
work.
I'm sure.
Never annoying.
I'm sure coming across as a community loudspeaker is never annoying. Hey, DevMech, we'll address your question in just a minute, again, just to make sure it's covered. But Quentin, thank you again for sharing some of your evening with us. I know it's getting late for you. Again, thank you for all that you do, behind the scenes, for our community, and all the work with the team, and taking that community feedback to heart, especially because like I said, you and I have those jam sessions where I'll DM you, we start talking about features, and you always take the time to go back and forth with me discussing those things to try and understand it from the community perspective, which I really appreciate. So thank you for all you do for our community, for the team, and just for Dungeon Alchemist as a whole. Let's see here. We got some positive words coming in from Atlam. Thank you, Quentin. Had so much fun today. Belladonna, just a bunch of, it looks like starstruck eye memes. Anani the cat says, keep up the amazing work and support. You are our backbone. DevMech says, it was a pleasure to get to meet you. Mondu says,
Likewise.
thank you for the interview and talk, Quentin. Lots of laughs today. I needed them. And sorry for the overly wordy bug reports. I think overly wordy is probably better than no words when it comes to bug reports.
Yeah. The more words, the better. Yeah. I had people seeing me on a stream like this and then doing shout outs in the bug reports, knowing I would see them, which is always funny. But it's more funny if you actually have a bug report. If it's just like, oh hey, by the way, hi, then it's just like, okay, great. But I have like hundreds of more bug reports to get to. But no, it's really, thank you. You're being too generous.
Let's see here. Who else do we got? Some kind words here. Traveler Chim. Thank you for the interview. Touch of Evil. Should we start the Dab show now? Dungeon Alchemist beer show. Honestly, that sounds great. It would be nice to have like a few, just a hangout session where we have some beers post launch.
But just dabs and beers. Yeah, like a sort of beer tasting. You bring the best.
I can't win. That'll suck. American beer is just
no,
awful.
you can't win.
I can't win.
Yeah, so
I can't.
There's a thing as a Belgian, you sort of have to be patronizing about your beer. You just have to, otherwise you can't be Belgian. So every time you go in another country, I love drinking local beers. Like if I'm somewhere and they've sold something just that's made in the region, I have to have it. But you have to then you're obliged to go like, yeah, this is good, but it's not good as in Belgium, but it's good. It's good.
I think that's kind of an underhanded way to say their beer is shitty, but it's a really nice way to say it. No, it's cool.
It's the Belgian way. I'm sorry. We have to.
That's hilarious. Okay, Lalandra says, thank you for all the cool info and the work you've done in DA. It's been great having you here. Atlam says, Team Quentin, cheers. Highland Last says, thank you. Glad I remembered to pop on. Great hearing from you. Asmodeus says, my Bitcoin's on the way. Wait a second. Are there some backroom deals going on here for Bitcoin? No, I'm just kidding. Asmodeus is
Okay.
just stirring trouble, as always.
All right.
Let's see here. Stan from Steam says, thank you, Quentin, Mac, and Atlan. This was great. Let's see here. I that's pretty much, it's just devolving into beer chat now. So everyone's talking about whose beer is best. We've just started a world war, I think. Thank you.
I enjoy all beers.
Thank you, Quentin, for hanging out today. I appreciate you, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the call with you so you can enjoy your evening, and then we're going to move on to our next segment. Everyone, thank you for being so kind to Quentin. We're going to send him on his way. Thank you, Quentin, so much for hanging out with us today. You have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, and have a lot of fun on the rest of the stream.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Bye-bye, bud.
Cheers.
We got to disconnect from Discord really quick. Gonna hang up here on Discord too. See you later, man. Bye. Okay. Oh, it was quite the guest spot. I always love when we get a dev member up, because it's always a hoot. Alrighty, let me get the music back up here. Okay, you know what? Our interview segment ran quite long today. I lost track of time. In fact, that was my bad. I just we were going and question after question. We had a few that we got a little bit long-winded, but I think that's the best stream we can have, to be honest with you. If it feels more natural and fun and there's so many questions to cover, those are, in my opinion, the most successful interviews. Music's way too loud. We'll fix that. Sorry. Yep. When I turn it back on, I have to adjust the volume. My bad. Quentin's now doubling back on his beer statements. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Quentin, thanks again for being here, my friend. You have a lovely evening. I appreciate you so very, very much. He's gotta be a crowd pleaser. You know what? Your beer in your country, in your town, is the best beer from the best brewery ever. There we go. No worries. You're welcome to lurk. But, you know, we were going to review your interview, so I don't know if you want to be around for that. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. That's great. Love it. See ya, Nani. Have a good one. Get your art done. Act as if you were not here. Cool. We covered all the questions today. Ah, fantastic. So many questions. Okay, DevMech. I did address your question. You asked the same question kind of twice, so I addressed it, but I will address it again just to make sure. So you asked, when can we expect to rotate the objects in every direction? That feature will be launching in Fun with Objects Part 2, which is hopefully launching by the end of the summer, though that is subject to change. Oh, you mean to rotate the wheel in a different direction? Well, luckily for you, my friend, when you can rotate the object 360 degrees, you can solve that problem. Is it Nerdine? Nerdine? I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Welcome to the stream. It is not my own software. I work for this company. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, which is the map making tool you see in front of you right now. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't reverse the animation, DevMech, but once you can rotate it completely around, that shouldn't solve the problem, I'd imagine. Does that make sense? Yeah, I thought it was like the same question, just worded slightly different, but I misunderstood. But yeah, Nerdine, welcome to the stream. Nice to meet you. Answering a couple questions simultaneously, so I'm going back and forth there. Apologize. But yeah, this is a map making tool available on Steam. We offer a free demo, so you can kind of check it out, see what it's about. But we love showcasing maps from our community on the stream. We just finished up with an interview with one of our dev team members, so we got to learn a little bit more about upcoming development and the history of development with our product. And at the moment, we are just kind of highlighting cool maps while we answer questions from our community. So if you have any questions related to the stream or the map you're seeing or what the tool can do, by all means, ask away. That's what I'm here for. You uploaded your Steamboat? Let's take a look. Let's see if it's up on the workshop yet. Remember, when you upload a map to the workshop, you do have to set it as public. Is this yours right here? Devling. Oh, let's load it up. Let's take a look. Ah, I see why you want them in different directions. Remember, though, you could always just disable the collisions and spin this around. So it does have a little bit of the wheel outside, but at least it's always going the other way. But yeah, at some point, you'll be able to 360-degree flip this, so it won't be as problematic. Very cool. Very cool. And I like how you use the room tool to build the Steamboat. So Dev, this is your first map. I'm assuming you're new to Dungeon Alchemist then? Two days in? Wow. Well, welcome to the stream. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Welcome to the Damn fam, as we like to say. When you are a part of our community, you're a part of our family, right? But when you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file, which is our proprietary map format. Stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. So we lean into that a little bit with the Damn Show or Damn Challenge, etc. Damn fam. Anyway, so welcome. And if you have any questions at all, especially right now, we're in our Q&A segment. In fact, let me flip that on really quick. We just cycled from an interview now to the Q&A segment, which basically is an open forum where anyone in chat on any of the platforms can ask questions, and I will do my best to address them. Just try and keep them Dungeon Alchemist related, okay? Yeah, I think they did a really great job. This is their first map. They made it in 2 days. Damnation's going to be more fun on a shirt. It should have like a picture of an eagle with like a flag behind it, and the eagle's holding like a salmon in his talons. And then the eagle's wearing sunglasses. And it says Damnation. DevMech, are you aware that you can do angled and like diagonal and round edges on the walls? I'm gonna blow your mind right now, my friend, because if I don't know if you are just looking at this. Damnation on a t-shirt would be good though. We should put that on a t-shirt. I'm going to show them a couple of things. So you did some things that they're totally fine. You're very new to this tool, and these things aren't as very obvious, especially when you're trying to make a boat, which is something that's not really a normal thing in Dungeon Alchemist, let's be honest. And we do have an update planned in the future around boating, or around building boats and whatnot. But for right now, I want to show you a few tricks that'll help you out. So I just generated this island map, right? Deserted island here. I'm going to hurry and just quickly erase everything, right? That's in the water. Heck, I could erase all the objects, but it's okay. I'm going to leave the island. We'll put the boat to the side somewhere. I'm going to show you a neato burrito trick. Okay, so we now got our little island getaway. Let's grab the room tool. When I'm building ships, I like to use the cabin room tool because the logs run along the side, so it kind of looks like the shingles of a ship. The room tool has some advanced settings in it. You can click settings and notice these little check boxes here. These will all be checked by default. It'll generate with all of these things present. So I'm going to tell it no doors, no windows, no objects of any kind, because I don't need cabin objects in a ship, right? And I'm going to just start shaping the room, which, you know about square stuff, right? But if you see these dots here, you could take those and bring them into like points. So you can get like a trireme-ish type edge, or you can even round these points out. So these dots, if you pull away, they do a bite. If you pull towards it, it's a rounded edge, right? And if you pull towards the edge itself, it makes a diagonal cut. These are things you can do with the floor plan before you generate it. But I'm going to show you one other thing before we do that. This is very crucial. We're going to put a dummy building on this map, okay? The dummy building is to help us get at an exact elevation wherever we want. So I'm just going to generate a single no floor room right here, right on this island. It could be anywhere on your map. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to just take this rock and cover it up. But notice here now my floor widget has extra floors. I can raise up to the next level. Now I'm going to generate my ship, and it's actually floating above the water, right? But, well, shoot. Hold on. Why can I not raise or lower this? Hold on one second here. So you could do a floating room this way if you need like an airship. This is one way to do it. Oh, we need a floor. The dummy building needs to be sunk, huh? Now that makes sense. I never thought of that. How far does it have to be sunk? It's an interesting concept. Isn't it 2.7 or 1.7, something like that? I'm trying to remember the number exactly. I think that's one floor there. 2.4? Sorry, this is a little bit of a tricky thing we're doing, so. This is essentially just dead space. But now we can generate a kind of thing right on the water. That's still too high. Right there. I think it's going to raise the ground up underneath. That ain't going to work. Yeah, no matter what I do there. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what you're trying to do here, Mondu. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what you're trying to do. Ah, that makes sense. No, now I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I got a little lost in my tutorial because this is a bit of an advanced concept. So, our friend says we need a dummy building under here first. So I'm going to just sink one into the water. It's 2.7. Need to generate this without floor. Nope, I get it now. I knew what you were talking about now. So we now generate up another level, and now we can build on top of this. This will be technically floating on top of the water when all's said and done. So you get an idea. I'm just shaping it into whatever. You can make all sorts of random shapes. But at the end of the day, you can make pretty much almost anything shape-wise. Here, let's give this a floor and a wall now. I did it a little too low. Darn it, 2.7's too low. Let's raise it up. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, so forgive me here. We're going to have an update later that's all around ships that'll make this way easier. So for now, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But at some point down the road, this will be tremendously easy. Some people like to build two things together like this, and then just kind of have one shape match the other side. But let's get back here. We'll add some extravagant stuff like this at the back. Really just depends. It is a lot of practice for sure. Really just depends on what you want your ship to be shaped like too. Are you going for some extravagant, like weird kind of spelljammer type shape? Are you going for a very traditional shape? You going for something more fantasy or more what, you know what I mean? Let's generate this. Of course I generated it without a floor. Haha. Please don't be underwater. Ah! I don't know. I kind of like that there's a bit of water, but I made it too low both times. I think it needs, yeah, it might be 2.4 like Mondu was saying. 2.5. It's really close. We're heckin' close. But basically, you can have a floating structure instead of all that ground below it by building a ghost structure below, which is part of the problem here. Let's try 2.5. Let's do 2.4 just to be safe. Oh my goodness, I generated it with the wall again. We're going to make a hammerhead looking one. But you get the idea, like the shapes of the sharks, or I mean of the ship is really up to you at the end of the day within the confines of our system. There, yep, 2.4 was right. But there's like your basic deck, right? Then you build up on that. The other day, I figured out how to make an axe head. Let's try and do that again. It was like this, I think. Might be doing it backwards. As you can see here, I'm already building kind of like a deck. It's interesting, though. You could really have some fun with it if you start shaping. And I like to get really crazy with my shapes because, like, it's a fantasy ship. It doesn't have to match anything you know? Anyway, there is some crazy ships that have been built, and people have made all sorts of crazy structures. Things that I'm sure Mondu and Anani can definitely do some crazy shaping. I got to get better with that myself. That's where I lack, is building shapes. I can do some mean decorations, multiple floor buildings, crazy intricate buildings that, like, super detailed, like lots of history in them. But then when I try to make them a fun shape, I stink at it. Pyro Machine, what are you trying to do, my friend? Can you explain a little bit more for me? So you generated a structure, and then you've removed the floor from the structure, right? So when you cut the floor like this, when you add a room, it exposes the underground layer, and the terrain paints cannot be painted on this layer. Unfortunately, I don't know of a way to just paint that normal paint in there. Huh, interesting. That's interesting, Mondu, and very unintuitive. Gotcha. Have you considered... Let's see if we can generate it with... Yeah, now it'll always delete everything inside. Yeah, that is a bummer, huh? Ever since multi-level updated, you can't really have the interior spaces be inside anymore, which is... What you would have to do is potentially do the natural tiles here. Like there's these foliage tiles. Let's see how that works. There we go. Yeah, it does. It is dumb that you got to do it on the floor below. That makes 0 sense at all, actually. I'll bring this up with the devs. Because you don't know where you're painting unless you have this on. And then you can't see it when you're in the paint tool. So that's kind of useless to you. Yeah, it's a quirk of the underground. I think, though, once you've cut this level, it should treat it as first floor and allow you to draw in it like you're wanting to. I agree with your concern here. That is frustrating, to say the least. But yeah, there's probably a different approach to doing this. Atlam, what are you trying to say? It's probably almost easier to make it overgrown than it is to delete stuff from the inside, in my opinion. Because you can always have like some broken walls and some broken floor tiles, or even one hole leading down to a sunken floor below with a sub basement. You can add like, you know, foliage and stuff on top of it, plants and whatnot, grass, moss, etc. Really just depends on the setting. And we also have inside the floor tile room, yeah, there's some natural forest kind of tiles. So you could potentially try some of these and see if they work for you. It's not a perfect solution, but it is at least some solution. Can I remove the background as a layer? You mean after you've made a room and deleted that floor? Is that what you're asking? If it's if you're able to go back and undo all that? The background? I mean, this is all background. Do you mean this area here? The gray area on the side? When you look at the export menu, when you're exporting for whatever platform you're choosing, there's no way to... What are you trying to do? Explain to me from start to finish, because I'm only getting about 10% of what you're trying to do, and I can't really answer your question without a whole picture. So you want to export the background as... You only want to export one level at a time, or a specific part, or you want a level to have everything transparent around it except for the background. There's a lot of different parts in play here, and I'm just trying to understand it. So if you don't want the level below to show, there's several ways to get around that. When you're exporting, you can say export only the ground level or export the layer you're currently selected on. So whatever level you are on when you are in this menu, right? If you're on floor 2 or floor 3, when you hit export, it'll only export that level. So what you would do is go to the floor you want to export, select that floor, make sure you're in there, and then in the export menu, you just go to only current layer. But keep in mind, it will export that layer of visibility, and the ground and everything below it will still be there. Does that make sense? But then it won't export an image for each floor of the building. It'll only export the image for that floor. So if it's essentially, if you don't need floor 1 and floor 2 exported again, you just want the exterior or just the basement. You select the basement and export that. Unfortunately, there really isn't an automatic way to do it. You just select the layer you want to export, i.e. only current layer. Only ground floor, all layers with roofs, only ground floor with roof. There's quite a few options in there to select from, but unfortunately, I'm not sure one actually meets exactly what you're trying to do. Though I could imagine with time it might get better. Our export menu is constantly going in under, through improvements and changes. There's the batch export option, which offers advanced options for exporting multiple versions of the same map. So that could be something that could be potentially included in the batch exporter, like you select which levels you want to export, or maybe even on the export menu, just pick and choose which levels from a number list instead of, only this level. But realistically, I mean, just make sure you're on the level you want to export before you export, and then go to the menu and select only that layer. That's the only way around it right now. That, or just delete the other ones once you've exported everything. If you re-export it again and you didn't need the others, just delete, floor 0, 1, 2, if you only need 3, or vice versa. Probably a little bit quicker that way around. Anyway, I've got to wrap up the stream. Unfortunately, we've run a little bit long. I had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all today. Thank you so much for being here. Mods, thank you for all your support today. Community members, my lovely cartographers, thank you so much for being here, for supporting the streams, especially when we have a guest. It's always so great to have so many bright, energetic faces here, eager to ask questions. So thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate each and every one of you who, make a point to attend the streams, once or twice a week or once or twice a month even. It means a lot to me. And it means a lot to the team to get your feedback and to just be able to interact with you on a more one-on-one basis, get your insights, hear what you're working on, and make sure that we're in line with our development with what, you're expecting from Dungeon Alchemist. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back Monday with the Dungeon Alchemist, not the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking show, with Mapmaker Monday. Sorry, had a brain fart there. I am working on a ice palace, a snow palace. Kind of just started on it like last week before. It's coming along so far. I don't see a whole lot of builds in the snow biome, so that's what I wanted to do, was build something kind of in that biome. So that's what we have so far. I was going to make the walls have some cool like towers and round parts to them, and then we were going to work on the palace last. We did this little staircase here last time. Anyway. Thank you everyone for attending. We'll be working on this Monday. That stream is from 9 a.m. Pacific till 11:15 a.m. Pacific. So about, roughly 2.5 hours. That is 12 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. UTC. If you're across the pond, you can extrapolate from there. Thank you so much again, everyone, for attending. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing weekend. But we'll see you next time. I give a damn, all right? We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and I'm going to take off. Mac out. Bye. You know what, Atlam? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to be that'll be the last interview for a few weeks, couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. And I think I'm going to take a break on interviews when we come back with the damn show. Just so I get some time to cycle and research interviewees. I'm going to take some time off in the beginning of July, and it was really hard to try and line up interviews when I wasn't sure when I'd be getting time off. So I'm taking about the first 2 weeks of July off, 10 days or so. And I'll be out of office during that time. Our dam challenge, the trap dam challenge that comes up on this Saturday. After that, I don't know if we're going to do an extra long dam challenge or just take a break on it. I kind of want to give everyone a break while I take a break. But at the same time, when we have 3 or 4 week dam challenge entry periods, we tend to get some really crazy good entries. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. It's July 1st through the 10th. Yeah, is when I'll be gone. So pretty much all Monday and Saturday streams during those days are non-existent. And I think I'm going to think on the dam challenge a little bit more. We have between now and the 27th to kind of mull over it. But yeah, the 29th of the month will be the last stream I have for the month. I'm probably going to be just taking a staycation. I can't really afford to go on a vacation at the moment, mainly because travel is a nightmare with Mrs. Mac now because she's super immunocompromised and everything lays her up or hospitalizes her. So we don't really travel much anymore unless we can either I can do it solo, which is not very fair, or we have I don't know, in the past we were able to borrow a friend's travel trailer, but they no longer own it. So that's something that's not an option for us anymore. We were looking into potentially getting our own travel trailer or RV, but just outside the realm of possibility for us right now. So as much as I would love to take a vacation where I actually get out of the house and go do something, I just don't want to take a vacation and risk getting Mrs. Mac sick and, hospitalizing her or worse. So it's not really much of a vacation if I can't relax, right? Oh no, we have more streams between now and Mapmaker Monday is the last stream of the month, and then I'll be taking a break the 1st through the 10th. So I'll be around, the 29th, 30th on Discord and stuff, but I won't be around the 1st through the 10th. I'll be disconnected. Trying to, just unplug for a little bit and get some rest. Yeah. Tell that to my shop. Ugh. Atlam, I've been working on adding an air conditioner to my shop. I can't do a mini split because my landlords won't let me put a hole in the wall big enough for a mini split. They have those little portable ones that are you can plug into, it has a vent and you could put it on anything with a vent. And I have vents in my garage, but those are $200-$300. So I was I don't know. Amazon, Lowe's, a few different places sell window units and they go on sale all the time, especially this time of year around here. So Amazon had a little unit that was 6,000 BTUs for $100 or something. And I thought, well, I'm going to buy this unit and mount a box in my garage that is a vent just for this air conditioner, because I can mount things on the wall. I can't put holes in the wall. So there's a vent, and I built a box, an enclosure for it, but the air isn't pushing out the heat enough, so it just overheats. I got to figure something out. I got some computer fans and all my junk in my office, and I think I'm going to repurpose a couple of those computer fans and make a little mount inside to help blow out the hot air. So it'll push out, several thousand cubic feet of air a minute, Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Sorry for the ranting and raving and story time. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and we're going to wrap up the show. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back for Mapmaker Monday, all right? Mac out. Bye.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.